Summon Sign is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 69 of Summon Sign, Last Stand Media's weekly, oh my God, weekly in-depth gaming discussion podcast. I'm your host, as always, Brad Ellison. Joining me, we have our Cobra Commander, Colin Moriarty. Another one-on-one with me, Colin. I like to do these every now and then.
Yeah, they're fun.
Yeah, they're good. Colin, how are you, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. Just got done recording The Last of Us Season 2, Episode 2 review and discussion. Did you watch? Are you watching on HBO?
I haven't seen any of the show.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so people can go check that out. And just got back from walking the dogs. I rolled in quite late here, so I apologize about that, like 8 minutes late, which is very uncharacteristic of me.
No, you're busy, man.
I did text you, so it wasn't like, it's not like,
dude,
let's take it easy. But
it's no big deal, man.
Yeah, but no, things are busy today, and then just a busy week because Mike and I are heading out this weekend to go to Massachusetts for a few days. So just getting all the ducks in a row, as it were. But it's good to be here with you, and I like our one-on-one episodes as well. Yeah,
are you guys going to visit her family? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing them. Unfortunately, we're going for a funeral.
Oh,
but it's a. I've been explaining this on the different shows for people that are not from the North. Like, you can't really bury people in the winter in New England because it's just too cold. The ground's too cold. So Micah's grandmother passed away, and she was in her late 90s. She had lived a very long, good life. So they're going to bury her now and kind of just do like a celebration of life sort of situation.
Right.
So we've known, it's weird because everyone's like, so you knew like a funeral was coming for months, and it's like, yeah, that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. Dude, when I die, I want to be taxidermied.
Oh.
Put me posed up like this or some shit in the bathroom, or welcome them into the house. That's what I want. Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, I'll definitely invest in something like that if that's what you want. I mean, it's here on the record. I think that makes it legal.
Yeah. Might as well, have some laughs when I'm dead. Why not? I don't give a shit. I'll be gone. So you can do whatever you want with my body as far as I'm concerned. It's fine.
Fair enough.
Or you can burn me.
And we might.
Yeah, you might. Yeah, you could use me as prop, merch. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Give you full range.
Excellent.
All right, everybody. Before we get into what we're talking about, please check us out on patreon.com/laststand. You can get early access to this show as well as our other podcasts. You can get stuff like Sacred Symbols Plus, where Colin just talked with Thomas Mahler of Moon Studios for a while. Mm-hmm. Talked about No Rest for the Wicked, Ori, and all that kind of stuff in the games industry. I listened to 75% of it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you. That was a great conversation. We'll have him back to talk about No Rest for the Wicked more specifically later in the year. But I wanted to kind of pick his brain. I actually kind of came across him because I tweeted out a couple months ago, and people might recall because they might have answered it as who should I invite on Sacred Symbols Plus? And he was one of the answers. So I reached out to him, and then we all got it to work out. Yeah,
I'm happy he made the appearance. I really like the Ori games, and I'm looking forward to No Rest for the Wicked. I've been waiting for the 1.0. I don't really like to do early access that often, but it looks great.
Yeah, but yeah, it is great, and he's a very interesting person. And I was really interested to kind of just talk to him about, specifically about the business, because he strikes me as similar. He's much more successful than me, but similar to me just in the sense that he wants to just work and be comfortable, but doesn't really. We talked about selling out and stuff. I thought it was an interesting thing about there's no doubt Microsoft tried to buy that studio. There's just no
100%
about that. That's impossible to imagine. And he basically confirmed as much that they had offers from various entities. And I loved hearing that because I was telling him, I'm like, man, someone dangles, because he's like, what would that give me? 20 or $30 million and all that. I'm like, yeah, I don't think I would say no to that.
Right.
To be perfectly honest with you. Even if I knew I was kind of selling my soul, and not in a corporate way, but just in I'm selling out. This is selling out. I'm going to be good for the rest of my life, and I don't need to do anything, and I'm going to make this money and kind of do this. And eventually I'm probably going to get washed out of my own company or kicked out of my own company or leave.
Yeah.
And I've kind of written that warrant, as it were, but you exchange that. It's like selling your soul a little bit. And in exchange, I'll live a really great life for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And I think I would take that deal. So it was
Yeah,
interesting so it was interesting to hear the other side of that. And yeah, so I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope everyone out there does as well.
Yeah. Hypothetical. Company buys you out. Who do you want to buy you out? Boar's Head?
Boar's Head, yeah, that would be nice. Like in practical ways, like I've always been fascinated by IGN buying Last Stand, or like I'm a little surprised when we left to Found Kind of Funny. We never had a conversation with IGN, I don't think, but there were others that were kind of interested, sniffing around, like what ifs. Never got to the number stage or anything like that, but like the what if and like what would that look like, kind of. And we were very happy freelancing. People might remember we immediately went to GameSpot and like worked with them for a couple of years. Like IGN's arch rivals. They paid us so much money.
How was that? How was it working with them?
Good, because a lot of them were ex-IGN people, and we were friends with them. Like Ty Root was one of the people over there who was like a good friend of mine at IGN. Neha was another. She was like the producer over there, yeah, it was interesting. It was just interesting to be on the other side. I told the story since that. I don't know if you know this one. It's funny. It's just a small story. Is that like I was getting really disgruntled at IGN. I was always disgruntled, but I was like, I can't. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. I think it was actually after I asked for a promotion or something and they didn't give it to me, and I was like really mad. It was actually that day Greg sent me home because he was afraid I was gonna like go crazy,
or whatever,
and like say something that I couldn't take back or whatever. And I remember that, and so I went and interviewed at GameSpot and like talked to them about going over there.
Oh, whoa.
And the funny thing about it was one of them that I used to work with at IGN telling me, you don't want to come here. Like, don't leave, which was interesting.
Yeah.
And the second thing was that so IGN had this guy named Roy, who was the CEO for a while. He was a really nice guy, very smart person. But he had left, like basically we got sold to Ziff Davis or whatever, and then he was out. And he walked by the table. I was at CBS Interactive's building in San Francisco where GameSpot was, and we were in like a little cafe. I was talking to them, and he walked by us. And he knew. I mean, he must have known. It's like, why is Colin at lunch with all these people in their building?
Yeah.
But he was like long gone, and we just all made eye contact as he walked by or whatever. I'll never forget that as long as I live. So I was like, oh shit, man, like that could have gone very differently for me.
Yeah.
If he was still at the company. Yeah. So yeah, I think about that, but it was interesting to do that. But I ultimately didn't want to. The point is that I'm fine with very little.
Yeah.
And so someone dangling that much money in front of my face would be like, I'll be like, whatever you want, whatever you want, dude. $20-30 million. Yeah, cool. Whatever you want.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So the company but the company that I would want to buy Last Stand would be, like a media company like IGN. And I guess that's what I was saying to kind of close the loop was I was surprised that when we left, they didn't start purchasing companies like that. They have since, but they purchase websites, which I think is weird, but whatever. It works for them, I guess.
Is it them who owns GameFAQs or is that GameSpot?
No, GameSpot owns GameFAQs, although it's like CBS or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. And do they own Giant Bomb as well? I'm trying to remember.
They bought so Jeff Gerstmann left to found Giant Bomb with Whiskey Media, and then Whiskey Media got bought, I think, by CBS.
Oh, right. Yeah. Crazy times.
So Jeff must have made I don't know Jeff very well, but I'm certainly not comfortable enough to ask. But Jeff is almost certainly got a lot of money and just very low key about it. Yeah. Yeah.
Good for him. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I got no problem. People making their money.
I love it.
Yeah. I mean,
I love it.
It's good that people would stand out. Yeah, it's awesome. We got some merch over on lastandmedia.store if you want to get some merch. Got shirts in there, stickers, all that good stuff. Free shipping on stickers too if you want to pick some up. We got those for like all of our show logos as well. So please take a look if you're interested. And of course, leave us a nice rating on your podcast service of choice if you enjoy the show. Helps us grow. We want to spread throughout the world. Global saturation. As Albert Wesker would say, that's what we want.
Global saturation, indeed.
Yes,
indeed.
That is what we want. Now, Colin, your wife sent me a message last night.
Oh, boy.
And she said, quote, if you feel like it, give Colin a little pop quiz on the show tomorrow to see if he's been listening to my lectures, LOL.
Oh my God.
So we
Okay.
got one question for you, Colin.
Yeah.
All right. What kind of wood does Micah typically burn on the smoker? It's multiple choice. So we got
Oh,
A,
okay.
fruit woods, B, post oak, C, alder, D, hickory.
I think it's fruit woods, right? Like cherry, because hickory would only be good. I think she was telling me for a very specific thing, right? Is that right?
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, that's my final answer.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh,
Answer
okay,
is
great.
A. Yes.
Yeah, great.
You're avoiding the doghouse.
I am listening. Yeah, I am listening. Thank you. Thank you for participating in that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is her season to shine.
And I know she's very excited. She talks about her barbecue podcasts on Punching Up a lot. She loves that stuff. She is.
Yeah,
amped up.
she's really. I mean, I'm the greatest beneficiary of this hobby. Like my hobbies don't benefit anyone. They don't even benefit me.
Yeah.
You know, but this benefits all of us.
Yeah. Like someone that loves to cook, barbecue, smoke.
Yeah, for Easter yesterday, she made ham and mac and cheese and kale. It was really good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, dude. Very nice.
Yeah, we go. I love to cook too. And she's made me totally lazy where I'm like self-aware when I'm in the kitchen now. I'm like, whoa, I'm cutting an onion or something. Like, what am I even doing in here?
You're so not used to it anymore.
Yeah. And I love to cook, but she is better than me. And she is, she's into it. You know?
Yeah. She's passionate.
Yeah. Cooking's fun though, because I never understood people that don't know what to do in a kitchen. Like you don't know how to like do, like, just give me something. I'll figure it out. It's not that hard. Some people are very intimidated by it.
I think you can just learn anything on YouTube nowadays.
That's true.
If you just look something up, you're good to go. It's kind of crazy how you can just figure out anything on YouTube now for anything. It feels like
I'm on there all the time.
Yeah, so YouTube is the best. Get YouTube Premium, everybody. It's the best thing around.
I needed to find a pen. I couldn't find a pen. There we go.
Ah, yes, the hand notes, good stuff.
You don't take any notes, like any hand notes?
No, not during the show. Really. Sometimes I'll type a couple things out. My handwriting is. I can write fast, but it's kind of messy if I write fast. So I prefer to type it, but I don't know. I used to write in cursive a lot, but no one knows how to read cursive anymore for some reason. So
yeah, cursive is a dead art.
I kind of gave up on that. I
was just talking about that with someone actually.
I really liked cursive a lot. It was fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Like I do you remember you're about my age, so. And by the way, I don't want to make you feel bad. Like I typed up my notes for this show, so I don't want to make it seem like I'm always just writing things out like I'm a fucking
no. I think that's totally cool.
But what was I saying?
Cursive,
right? Oh yeah. Do you remember being in elementary school? I was really obsessed with the letter cards in front of the classroom. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like A, B, C, D, and I was talking about this recently.
Show like the different ways to write it.
Yeah, and then it would be like uppercase and lowercase. And then eventually you'd get in like second or third grade and they'd replace them with like the green with white text cursive ones. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And that felt like a big
upgrade
moment. Yeah. I remember, like you go up to second grade and you're like, damn, now we're dealing with cursive. And I don't think they even teach this shit anymore, to be honest. We must have been amongst the last generation in the last years to learn cursive. Yeah, and I actually try to write in cursive sometimes and I can't. I remember the movements and stuff, like especially my name because you have that L.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It is dead. I don't. And when I go back through my school notes, like I have a bunch of my shit from my childhood or whatever. And there was a time where I just stopped writing in cursive, and then I just never wrote cursive again. Probably in high school.
I feel like as we got older, they kind of encourage us not to write in cursive anymore. Because I used to do a lot more.
People can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure cursive is a product of letter writing and like, also like shorthand and writing quickly, writing efficiently. Yeah. And I think that we grew up in an age where by the time I was in college, everyone was, or many people were, I wasn't actually because I found it distracting, but people were taking notes on laptops. To me, I never did that because I was like, I don't know how I'm supposed to pay attention. Yeah.
I was kind of like at the tail end of that. Some people were doing it, but a lot of people were still writing hand notes.
Yeah, I would write all my notes by hand. So yeah, I don't. And now I had some classes even there where they wouldn't let you have a computer, and that's so funny because this was pre-smartphone. I graduated college and then the smartphone came out as we really understand it.
Yeah.
And but I had some professors that were like no computers, and that I think would not even be possible anymore.
Yeah. Do kids in high school classes, I guess, all have computers now as well?
Yeah, they do. Even in middle school, I think.
Wow, that's
Like
crazy.
my nephews and nieces have like Chromebooks or something, and some of them are still in middle school. Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is, because we used to have to go to the computer lab and
Yeah, dude. Yeah, we'd have like a typing class,
right.
learn how to type, and now kids just know how to do it from.
I
being
am
on
a
computer all day.
prodigious typer, dude. Like I'm a fucking crazy fast typer, though. I appreciate that stuff. It's crazy to me that people can spend so much time on a keyboard and not know the most proficient way to get around it.
I feel like everyone kind of knows how to type nowadays, at least the younger kids going on, because it's like, I don't know, they all grew up on computers and stuff like that. Like you were saying, for us, it was more rare, computer lab and stuff like that. Like I learned to type well from playing Final Fantasy 11. That's how I learned to type fast.
Oh,
is from that game, kind of on the fly. Of course, when I was a kid, we had like Mario teaches typing and everything, but it wasn't until like real world, now I have to learn to type to get through this thing, sort of thing, that I really hammered it home. And
Mavis Beacon, of course.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me that someone hasn't tried to revive Mavis Beacon into something like, make it like some gritty, she's like she was like this older black woman character that like taught you how to type. She was on the box art and stuff.
They'd probably think it's racist now or something.
Yeah, someone must own the IP though, and it would be so interesting though. It would be so funny to do something with that.
Yeah.
I've talked about that in the past with someone. It would be a fucking hysterical license.
It's like Doki Doki Literature Club, just the biggest switch up. Some shit like
she finds herself in like a zombie apocalypse or something.
Yeah, it's like a survival horror game. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be sick.
Yeah, Typing of the Dead, mix it with that.
Right, exactly.
Man, Curse is so cool because I'm like, whenever I see that, I like think of like just the Declaration of Independence, like just how they write. I'm like, man, that's so cool. Now we don't do it anymore.
Yeah, and I think it's also to not pick up the pen, right? Because you're dealing with like an ink pen.
Yeah.
Or a quill even. Yeah, it's really interesting. But yeah, for some reason we just stopped. It's like I don't remember many of the things that I was taught though, when you think back at it. So
writing has been always annoying for me because I'm left-handed. So writing, I always have to like drag my hand across what I write. So I'd always remember like whiteboards and stuff, writing on that. I have to like twist my hand and write all goofy.
Totally.
All those fucking desks, the right-handed desks. I got fucked over.
Do you use your mouse with the left hand too?
No. I do both, but I'm mostly left-handed.
Interesting. No, I ask you because I'm similar where I'm doing physical therapy now actually, and they were like, so are you like left-handed or right-handed? And I'm like, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but it really depends on what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because people call that ambidextrous, but that's not what ambidextrous is. It's ambidextrous means you can use both your hands evenly. I can't. That's not me at all.
I can't do that. Yeah.
I am. It's what's called cross-handed, where you don't have a preferential hand. It depends on the task at hand, and that. So I write with my right hand, and I use my mouse with my right hand, and I do basically everything else left-handed, which is really weird. Like,
did you play hockey left-handed?
Yeah, I played hockey left-handed. Okay, I throw left-handed, and so on and so forth. Like I open things with my left hand, I grab things with my left hand.
Yeah.
So I often wonder like why. I wish you could like get back to those formative years and just understand why was I left-handed? Like I just started throwing a ball and I just did it left-handed. I started batting in baseball and I was a lefty. I remember that being a big thing. Like a lot of young kids when you're a very little kid had no idea how to throw to you.
Yeah.
When I play golf left-handed. I bowl left-handed. So, but then let's like I write with my right hand. I play drums right-handed. That I think is a product of just learning drums right-handed.
Yeah, I would think so, probably.
And I play goalie right-handed, and I think that was a product of the goalie equipment that you got, like your team's goalie when you were like a shitty kid team or whatever, and you moved. That was like how you played goalie. So I never even knew how to play the other way. But I think I probably would have preferred to play left-handed.
Left-handed, yeah. I'm trying to think what I'd hold it in. You play guitar right-handed though, don't you?
Yeah, and I think bass, and I think that's another product of like that was what was there. There were you could play a left-handed guitar or a right-handed guitar upside down. Some people did do that. I think Hendrix did that, right? But but that was again just what was available to me. So it's hard to know what was nature and what was nurture.
Are people in your family like that?
No, no one else in my family is like left-handed at all.
Really?
Yeah, that's
so weird. Because me, my brother, and my dad are all like that.
That's interesting. Well, that must suggest some sort of nurture, you would think.
Maybe.
Right? Like, imagine your dad, you're sitting on your dad's lap. He's using his left hand to guide you as you do something with his left hand.
Maybe,
Maybe it is something that simple. I mean, maybe that's too simple. But
maybe. Because like we do some things, though, different. Like my brother and my dad play sports right-handed, but I play left-handed. Stuff like that. Like I think if my brother like holds...
You bat left-handed?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Like,
Cool.
I think they hold some stuff in their left hand for other things when I hold in my right hand. I don't know. Super weird, but yeah, maybe it is. But we all write left-handed, I know.
That's interesting. Yeah, all the lefties in the family. That's very unusual, I think. I don't know if, because it's like, what do they say? 1 in 10 people write with their left hand.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. We're all freaks, I guess. I don't know. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I think being lefty is really interesting. I always notice when someone's a lefty.
Yeah. How crazy is they used to, like, back in the day, like, slap you if you wrote with your left hand or something like that? Devil's hand?
Yeah, that's what they always show that chart of how it adjusted back to like this 10% mark after they stopped doing that and then just go straight.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah, like what does it matter?
Yeah, like where did this even come from? Like the stigma around it. I don't know, man. People are weird. Let's see. We got some couple warm-up write-ins from the audience here. JD wrote in. Just wanted to hear your reaction to Fortnite adding Death Jar Jar. No, this isn't a joke.
I did see that. I didn't know if it was real or not.
No, that's real. I guess like that long theory of Darth Jar Jar that some psycho made up is coming to reality.
It's cool. I mean, what's funny is that that's just something someone made up somewhere. I mean, I guess it's all made up technically, but
yeah, but that's just some guy in like a Star Wars form, probably.
Right? Is he going to get a royalty check?
Maybe, dude. It's crazy, man. Fuck Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, the worst.
Jar Jar.
The worst.
I don't know why people like him.
Do people like him? I never even knew that.
Yes, I have met people that like him. They're like, oh yeah, he's for kids. He's funny.
Yeah, I think
he's shit.
He's questionable. I mean, really, truly questionable.
Yeah. Stay gone, Jar Jar.
Not even the character itself, not even visually, just the vocals and the movements, and it's like it sucks. It sucks. It always sucked.
It does.
It always sucked. He always sucked.
Yeah, it's bad, man. I'm glad they kind of like pushed him off after the first movie.
Yeah, he was definitely supposed to be more central, and they definitely.
Yeah, get him out. I don't know what you're doing, George. That's enough, George. It's crazy though. I'm gonna go into Star Wars rant. The revisionist history on the prequel trilogy. People like love those movies now.
Yeah, I think it's an example of like, be afraid of what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, or whatever, because everyone's like, "Fuck George Lucas, this shit sucks," and then you like look forward and you'll never get him back ever again. Maybe you should be careful with it. I feel that way in some sense. Like I don't feel revisionism towards the prequels at all. Right. I always thought the one thing I'll say is I always thought episode 1 personally was the best one. And I think that there are the best moments in that one. Personally, I love the beginning. I think the beginning's fucking sick with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon on the ship. The first 10 minutes is dope. Love
the gas door. Yeah. They lock him with gas. Yeah. It's so funny.
And, yeah, like, and you see like the protocol droids and they like run really fast and they stab through the door and they fight the droids, and it's
the Asian stereotype guys.
Yeah, you gotta get that.
Two of them now. Yeah,
casual racism.
Yeah,
and then of course Darth Maul is like the coolest. I love it. Yeah,
Darth Maul was cool.
But no, I've never. This new Disney era has never made me appreciate them more. I think I appreciate George Lucas more. I think those are two different things.
I think I'm just kind of like, yeah, still fuck them. I don't care. Fuck them. Fuck them all.
It's like, crazy that people just don't understand what I don't know. What does it matter? You can make something so great and then not understand what to do with it. Yeah. That bothers me. Because I really do believe like normal people could have done a better job with like creative control over this stuff. And
it's an ideas, man.
And just look at what like Disney is like. That's to the point. My dad actually asked me on a phone call because he loves all this. He like loves all this nerdy shit. And he was like, are you excited about Andor or whatever? Did you see the Andor season? I'm like, I don't care, Dad. Like, I told him, I'm like, I'm sure that Andor is very good. I'm sure it is. It's probably exactly like Colin Star Wars, because people say it's Rogue One, and Rogue One is really the great thing that happened in Disney Star Wars, in my opinion. But I'm like, I'm just not going to support them anymore. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm not giving them money. So
yeah, I get it, dude. I am very disconnected from Star Wars, and it's great. I like barely watch anything, and if I do, my expectations are very low, so it doesn't matter. But they've been low since the prequel era, so whatever. Yeah,
they might have been low for a while too. And then my dad did make the point. It's like a lot of people say this that know me for a long time. Are like, you were such a huge Star Wars fan,
dude. So was I. Yeah,
it's like crazy that it's unimaginable that you would not be engaged in this. This is like what you always wanted in some sense. I'm like, no, not really. I didn't really want this. I never, as a kid, I don't think I ever once asked for like a Star Wars TV show or like more movies or anything. I just liked like what it was and like the slow growth of it.
Yeah.
And all that. I don't know how many
Times have changed.
dozens of hours I can bitch about Star Wars. So
yeah, we gotta stop. We're pissing off the audience, I'm sure.
Oh my god!
Every time we talk shit on the prequels, they're all like,
they're mad at me for something. They're mad at me for a lot of things. I think at this point, it's hard for me to keep track of it all.
Let's see here. Fat Lee Adam wrote in, "Yo, Sums, I got a month of Ubisoft Plus and finished AC Shadows, AC Mirage, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws. Then canceled the subscription. Am I part of the problem or just a really smart guy at a buffet?" Wow, that's an impressive amount of games to finish in a month.
Wait, wasn't his name Fat Lee Adama?
Was it Adama? Yes. Yeah. You're right. It was Adama.
Yeah. That's an amazing name. That's an amazing name.
Fat Lee Adama.
That's a Battlestar Galactica reference.
I've never seen Battlestar Galactica. It always seemed too nerdy for me.
Oh, it's very nerdy, but it's excellent. But yeah, that Mike and I love that name because there's a character named Lee Adama, and basically there's an arc where he becomes fat. So
like Mac on Sunny.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And
Man,
so yeah,
good.
Fat Lee Adama is a deep cut. Dude, Ubisoft Plus seems like a great value.
Yeah, that's where I played Outlaws. I just got it on there for like, I don't know, was it like $18 or something? I was like, I'm not gonna buy that game.
Yeah,
$18 all day.
If these companies are suicidal enough to give you those deals, why wouldn't you take them?
Yeah, exactly. You're being very smart, Fat Lee Adama. Do it. Yeah. Like I just played through, or last week I finished South of Midnight. But anyways, beat it. Cancel my sub. They're like, "Do you want your money back?" I was like, "Sure." Again, sure, man.
Never fails. I don't understand why they do that.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I don't. Yeah.
You don't have any idea how many people are doing this to you that don't want Game Pass and I'll do it for one game at a time or two games at a time. It's like, what are you doing? It doesn't make any sense. Everyone has a story like this now. When it happened to me the first two times, I was like, this is weird. But now it's just strange. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. I've done this multiple times. I'm like, all right.
Maybe
sure.
the first time or something. It's like, okay, you let me out of it the first time, but you have some sort of.
Yeah. I've done it like 3 times.
People. And again, there's a difference, I think, between being pro consumer and that's just stupid. That's not pro consumer. That's just stupid. There's nothing pro consumer about giving me my money back for a subscription I used. That's weird, not corporate nonsense that has to be hurting your bottom line, or maybe it's just so irrelevant that you don't care about the $10 or $15 or $20 that you're giving up from people. No other subscription service ever does this to me. I go one and done on a bunch of subscription services all the time.
Yeah.
I've never been offered. The only thing I get offered is sometimes like stay for cheaper in the future.
Yeah.
But not that. So I don't know, man. That's so funny. That's so fucking weird.
We're in an age of MAUs. That's what they care about. It seems a lot of times. So maybe that's all they care about for right now. But you're right. The money will dry up, and it kind of is slowly. And we have a great example of that. The game we're about to talk about. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This came out December last year for Xbox and PC, but it just hit PS5 last week. I played some of this when it came out, and I was like, this is great. I just don't have time for this right now. But now it has come again, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to buy it. I'm going to lock in, going to dedicate time to it. And I'm very happy I did. But before we start talking about everything like this, our impressions of the game, I want to read this question from Nashville Nibbler. Greetings, esteemed SS gents. Nope. This question is for Colin. Brad is, of course, welcome to chime in. As a disillusioned Indiana Jones fan, does this game capture the magic of those first 3 movies? For me, it delivered in spades. While I was initially a bit skeptical about Troy Baker as Indy, he did a great job, and the choice of first person turned out to be the right choice, truly making you feel like the man with the hat. Also got to give a shout out to the incredible sound design with details like the over-the-top sound effects when you punch an enemy and the John Williams-esque sound cue that plays when you're almost spotted by an enemy, really adding to the Indiana Jones vibe. Take care and keep whipping those Nazis. Tone, what do you think?
Yeah, I haven't even run into any Nazis yet because I'm still early in the game. You know, where
fascists.
Yes,
Italian fascists.
Kind of the same cloth, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I try to think about like my Indiana Jones fandom because I love the trilogy and I love young Indy too. That was something Dagan and I loved when I was a kid. Young Indiana Jones is fucking dope.
Mm-hmm.
And those are always going to kind of just be there. It's very similar to what happened with Star Wars later, where you have Crystal Skull and it was questionable, obviously a truly questionable movie, in my opinion, all the way through. And I never saw the fifth one because I was just like, I can't. I just I don't care anymore. You can't undo the last movie, and we can't leave anything alone. It's impossible. And I'm a major part of the problem, because I remember when the fourth Indiana Jones movie was announced, I was like, yes, fucking yes. I love Indiana Jones. It's gonna be excellent. Spielberg's in and everyone's getting involved, but they just didn't execute on it well. But there's no doubt that, Raiders, Temple, and Last Crusade are seminal films for me in my childhood, and I think for Hollywood. I am a major fan of Temple of Doom, which is the most divisive one. Some people contend it's racist. I think it's fucking awesome. I love that it's not about the Nazis and it's like something totally different. Everything else is really about the Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
So not young indie, obviously, but more contemporary 30s indie. So it does capture the vibe, and I think a lot of that has to do with it being set before The Last Crusade. But so Temple of Doom happens first. It's a prequel, and then Raiders is next in the chronology, and so it's 35, 36, and then you get Last Crusade 38. This takes place conspicuously in 37, which is that one unexplored year. So it's cool to just know that everything fits well in there, and I really like it. In fact, one of the cool things about the game, I think, early on is basically recreating a part of the Raiders of the Lost Ark.
The very beginning, yeah.
Right. And so the thing I love, I'm a history guy, as people know. It's like what I always wanted to do with my life. I went to school for history and everything, and Indiana Jones was a really important fictional character for me from a very young age, because I was like, he's cool. He's handsome. I love the scene where like the girl has like the writing on her eyes and she like shuts them in.
Oh, right. Yeah.
In Raiders.
Teaching. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like so cool. But he's cool and he's debonair and he's smart and he travels and he adventures and he fucks people up, but he does the right thing and he doesn't want to make money. He's like the antithesis of a Nathan Drake in some sense, in a lot of different ways. And I love them both being available on PlayStation to explore in this thorough way. So yeah, I wouldn't consider myself a disillusioned Indiana Jones fan. I just don't like the modern stuff. There's not that much Indiana Jones, so it's easy to avoid or just compartmentalize what you like about it without being. So I just pretend that any of the shit after the 30s never even happened. And Troy Baker, I think, does a really nice job, actually.
Yeah, he does.
I kind of have vacillated internally on this, whether I'm confused that Harrison Ford didn't just take the check and do it himself. But actually, I don't think Harrison Ford is capable of delivering younger Indiana Jones lines anymore. Obviously, he's an old man. So this was probably the only real choice, and maybe was just the obvious choice, other than using some sort of like AI, which you could have done too. And so Troy Baker does a really nice job of doing Harrison Ford, doing Indiana Jones in 81, 85, 89, when the original movies came out. And so his performance is really nice. And I also like the setting for grounding it back at Marshall and showing him as an academic. Things happen very fast. That's the one thing I'm a little confused about. I'm only 5-ish hours in.
Okay.
I'm a little confused why the story has to move so fast, considering it's a video game. If you think about what happens in the beginning at Marshall College and the dude breaks in and all this, it's just like very sudden. There's no breathing room for any of the events, but that is kind of Indiana Jones. So what this game feels like it's going to be is like just another trilogy of Indiana Jones, basically, because it's so much, it's moving at Indiana Jones clip, but there's going to be so much more of it. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it there because I have a lot to say about the game, but yeah, and the sound design is good. It's funny. The little stingers remind me of Star Wars, even though I know they're Indiana Jones, but it is just John Williams. I mean, that was
of course,
right. So, or John Williams-esque, like you said.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about it, man. We've been playing it. Talk to me first about what you think about the game, and especially, I guess, just kind of comparing it to Uncharted. Of course, Uncharted is influenced by Indiana Jones and like Tomb Raider, but I feel like they did a smart thing with Indiana Jones here, and it feels distinct. I was worried it was going to feel too much like Uncharted. but it feels very separate to me right now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel anything like Uncharted to me. I mean, if you just separate the archaeologist angle, exotic location angle, which is many games. I mean, Dan Brown novels take place in the Vatican. It's not
right.
You know what I mean? That's not that unique. I actually don't think it resonates like Uncharted or comes off like Uncharted at all, unless you have a very base understanding of video games, which is cool. I mean, if you're not like that into them, but to see the similarities beyond that I don't think they really exist. At least not yet. I'll say that this game is no way, shape, or form an Uncharted game, and I mean that on a quality level. And I say that with all due respect to Machine Games, who I like. I like Machine Games, and I like Wolfenstein. I was actually laughing. I don't. This might be spoilery. I don't want to. I guess I won't say it. It's just funny how like thematically their games are all the same.
Well, how long have you played? Oh, for Wolfenstein, you mean?
Yeah, like but just about Indiana Jones. I was saying this to Michael because she has never really seen Indiana Jones. Where I'm like, the first and third Indiana Jones games, especially the first one, but the third one especially too, I guess, are ostensibly about Nazi occultism, which is a real thing.
Yeah, and
I would suspect that Wolfenstein and Wolfenstein 3D were in some way inspired by that, SS occultism.
100%.
That they were really in the real world quite obsessed with, not to the degree that they show in Wolfenstein or anything, but like they were like going to archaeological digs and they were trying to find things and they were going after relics and they were obsessed with finding their history and like proving the Aryan supremacy or whatever in Europe. And it's a cool thing to focus in on because it's a totally inconsequential thing that didn't really matter. But Indiana Jones made it so like, oh my God, they almost got the fucking Ark of the Covenant, or like they almost got the
Holy
chalice
Grail.
and the Holy Grail, right? And so that's neat. But it is surprising that they didn't take the opportunity to make an Indiana Jones game that's not about Nazi occultism. And so when it became clear that it's not about just Nazism, but about Nazi occultism, again, at least from my perspective so far, I was like, geez, it's funny because that becomes a lot about what indie's about, which is cool, but also a lot about what Machine Games does.
Right.
And I was like, Jesus, wouldn't you guys want to get away from this? In other words, I know we already knew it took place when it took place, where it took place, but I'm just surprised they didn't say like, let's take indie Temple of Doom style to somewhere else, doing something else about something else.
Yeah. I think they wanted to play it safe with the first one and kind of be like, what do people like about Indiana Jones? What are the fan favorite of Indiana Jones? The moments, I guess. And most people probably do think of the first and third movie.
It's the racist soup.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what the favorite part is.
Yeah, but I could see the next game taking more of a detour.
They got to.
I would love for them to do that. Yeah, because I agree. Like, I don't think the next game should be the same Nazi occulting. As cool as it is.
It is cool.
We should try something different.
That's the point, is like, I'm not really judging it from a game perspective. I actually think it's totally fine. I agree with you. It's very much like what Episode 7 was to Star Wars, where it's like, let's just do this again. So I get that. I'm more just surprised from Machine Games perspective that they were like, man, we really love occult Nazis. Like, we really love
for a long time.
We really love this. It's all we do is Nazi occultism.
You're right. Yeah, that's an interesting point, I suppose. But yeah, man. So talk to me about the game. What do you think of the structure of how it's laid out? This is not a linear game, I should say. Kind of drops you in a hub.
Yeah, I am not blown away by it, to be honest.
You don't like the structure?
Yeah, I just the game generally. I'm not. I think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it looks great. I think it occasionally plays nice. I think the performances are good. The characters and the writing is very good.
Yeah,
there's a lot of detail. I love the gamey. Now, this could be because maybe Indiana Jones understands Italian. I don't really know. He is a multilingual potentially, but I like that he understands. Like, you can read. Everyone's speaking Italian, but you can read in English, like what they're saying. I don't know if that's video gaming or just like he knows what everyone's saying. I don't know. I like the father character. I can't remember. I should have wrote it down, that you meet in the beginning. He's very kindly and eager. And he has some sort of, does he have some sort of like...
Yeah, he has like a hearing aid.
Yeah, like some sort of rudimentary or old hearing aid. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's cool. I actually think I agree with you. It's not like Uncharted. They didn't make a game like Uncharted. Uncharted is good, in my opinion, because it is focused. So I actually think Uncharted in this structure would fall apart too, because now Nathan Drake is like swinging around and fucking around, and it's like, just bring me on this story that you're telling me, and it's going to be this linear thing. I do like the hub world approach to like somewhere, the Vatican, and you're sneaking around and you're backtracking and you're finding keys and getting into different places, and there's some places you're not supposed to be. But so far for me, I'm playing it. I bought it for the day it came out generally, and I've played it on like 3 or 4 occasions at this point. And for some reason, I'm just like, yeah, I'm good for now. And I just put it down and I go play something else. And I don't know why I feel that way, because sometimes my first impression of games are just wrong. I'm not in the right headspace, but I was really looking forward to this game. So I think a lot of it, I think honestly, what brings me down a little bit is just the act of playing it. I don't think is very solid. I think it feels a little old and rigid. I don't think first person was the right choice, actually. I know this is what Machine Games makes, and they're running a game on some fork of the id Tech or whatever I think they call Motor. And so I don't know like what their capabilities would be, and also it goes in the third person sometimes when he's climbing,
platforming and stuff like that. Yeah.
So it's not that it looks weird, and I don't. It's not that I don't think first person platforming can never be done. I think Dying Light is a great example of a game that feels great, like absolutely great. And it's 10 years old, so it's not like it's even a newer thing. So it's possible. But for me, I just feel like it feels a little stiff. It's very video gamey, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It might contrast poorly because of what I've been playing The Last of Us and having a very grounded, pardon the pun, stealth experience and combat experience and the visceral nature of the engagements. And in this, you're kind of just walking behind dudes and banging them in the head and moving their bodies if you want, and kind of tricking the system and understanding sight lines and how to manipulate the game. And it becomes very video gamey, which is cool, but there's just something missing for me so far. I'm going to keep going. I'm not going to abandon the game, but yeah, there's something missing for me in this game that's not quite there. I'm not as into it as I thought I would be.
I think what I'm enjoying about it so far is I do like, for instance, like I'm in the second area now, but like the first area is the Vatican. And I think it's just a really cool area to explore. Like, going to the Sistine Chapel and everything like that, just seeing all the art from like a historical perspective or just like a real world thing. It's just really cool for me to see all this kind of stuff and explore it. Like, I think it looks really cool going through all this stuff. And I love the Metroidvania aspect of, unlocking doors, like you're saying, kind of getting keys. I think that's really fun. And I think the side quests are done in a pretty interesting way. They seem kind of immersive how they kind of work. Like there's like high budget cutscenes in them. They don't feel as like B tier, I should say. They are, of course, B tier compared to the main one, but it doesn't feel as B tier where I'm like a huge jump in quality is missing, something like that. There's like nice cutscenes and stuff, like main characters in them. So I really appreciate that. And I like them because they take you to areas you can't get to otherwise. So to me, that adds a little more value and makes them even more interesting to do. And I think I just like this, like the little things like, collecting have you collected like the medicine bottles for the pharmacy?
I'm doing that now. Yeah.
I like doing little things like that. And that's super fun. I like the camera.
Yeah, the camera's cool. I like that the game. I like the game tells you to use the camera, which I think is a nice gamey kind of unfrustrating thing. Yeah.
What do you think about the books, like the skill books?
Yeah, it's cool. I do like this the marriage of you're kind of earning these experience points for doing things, finding things, taking pictures, and kind of connecting loops for people and all the rest. And then you kind of spend them on these books that you find, and they have the different skills. I think that's actually pretty cool. The systems I think in the game are pretty solid. I do find the UI to leave a lot to be desired. One thing I do like is there are two things actually. I like that you can hold the map and move, which is really cool, and that the game friendly tells you, puts a little waypoints and everywhere, because I get a little confused in these open environments personally. And you can probably turn that stuff off if it's too yellow paint for you, but that's cool for me. And I like the whole torch bearing thing. The lighting is beautiful in the game, and I'm playing on PS5 Pro, and I like how you can, I think, hold down L2 or something and hold the torch up to see more, and it's really beautiful. And I like that it plays with light and dark a lot and forces you to light torches and light little pieces of wood and and pyres and stuff. So there's that. But I think that the UI is a little messy too. Like I'm not crazy about the D-pad menus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not crazy about going through and cycling through like the journal, going from your kind of missions and then going into this other menu that's like all the notes you found. It's a lot of shit. There's a lot
of stuff. Yeah, you're right.
In the game to find. Actually, the trophies show that there's like almost 600 collectibles, I think. And that's cool, but I don't. So again, I don't know. I'm not crazy about it, to be honest.
I totally get that.
But it's early. I'm not. This is not final rendering.
Hopefully, you'll warm up to it more as you play more. I feel like as I've played more, I'm starting to enjoy it even more. But I've played like 10 hours maybe or something like that. Like I really like, all like the crypts and stuff like that. You solving the puzzles down there, doing the trials. I'm like, this is a good Indiana Jones shit. This is the kind of stuff I love. There's some cool ones later on. I don't want to spoil it for you, but I'm very happy to see a lot of those, especially because some of them are tied to side quests, man. I'm just like, this is cool. I'm happy I went out there. Like, I love when a game gives me a reason to do side quests and they feel eventful. So I'm very happy about that so far. I will agree with you on the gameplay aspect of it, I suppose. First person, I don't know if first person is the correct choice either. I'm kind of in the middle about it right now. I think they did a very good job for first person, but I'm like, would I like this more if it was third person? Maybe. Because, Indiana Jones himself is such an iconic character, and I wish you could be him more and see him more. Like, I like seeing Indiana Jones walking around, putting on the disguises and all that kind of stuff. I think is really cool. I really love that system. That's so Indiana Jones to me, wearing disguises and getting entry to areas you couldn't before and stuff like that. I think that's really cool. But yeah, like the combat, the sound effects are great. I think they take it a long way. Some of it's kind of like, okay, like, you can parry, block, dodge, and all that stuff. I think it's good. The whip sounds awesome. I love the whip sound. It's so good. And some of the skills you get later on, they can get one that like you can whip them and like bring the weapon towards you and stuff like that. Really cool shit. So I'm really happy about all that kind of stuff. But it is a little clunky. Like the AI is, I don't know, what difficulty are you playing? Are you playing on normal or hard?
Normal, like whatever the standard was.
Yeah. I bumped it up 1, and they're a little more sensitive, the AI. For the most part, it's pretty easy to trick them. They are kind of dumb like that. And I think that's just the thing with stealth in games nowadays is if it's too good, it would be frustrating for most people.
Definitely. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. Yeah, and I was confused about what I was going to do with difficulty because I kept it on whatever standard difficulty it was, but it made it sound like the hard one probably was the better option, but it's hard to know.
Yeah, well, you can change it anytime if you want.
Yeah, it's hard to know like obviously what they intend is the normal difficulty level, but should I be automatically setting things harder for games like this anyway to improve the experience?
I like to bump things up at least like one usually. Just a little more risk, I suppose. A little more of that danger that I like.
Yeah, it depends on like what. Like I'm really good at like single player first person shooters, for instance. So I'll play those on like hard. When I don't know what I'm getting myself into, though, yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that's totally fair. Yeah, 100%. And they kind of have like the puzzle difficulty thing you can adjust as well. I haven't messed with it, but that is interesting. Reminds me of Silent Hill and stuff like that.
Yeah, there are a few games that do that now, which is cool to separate them out for dummies like me, especially that would prefer harder combat and easier puzzle solving. But I didn't mess with any of the modularity in it either. And the puzzles, I will say, from my stupid brain angle, where I don't, it's not that you can't do them. It's like I hate them. I hate puzzles.
You don't like puzzles? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But if they're simple enough, it's like, so there's that one puzzle where you have like the numbers on the bar, like it's Jesus's crucifixion. It's early in the game. You have to figure out, like you have the lance and you have like the nails and everything. It's like I could do that. That's easy enough. But I could sense already where I'm like, this is going to get annoying for me probably at some point. But that's just the way it is. Where I would just like prefer these things to be solved for me. I don't. It's why I don't like adventure games. I'm like, I don't want to. I don't want to solve. Yeah. It's not what I'm in this for.
But you like puzzles in Resident Evil games, don't you?
Yeah, but I would argue that there are probably like 6 to 8 central puzzles in a Resident Evil game, maybe at most, and that they're fairly straightforward, and it's really more about finding things and putting things together. The game that I thought was more nebulous and that I did use a guide for at parts was Silent Hill 2. Actually.
I was about to ask you about that game, what you thought about the puzzles.
Which I thought was like I loved it. I thought Silent Hill 2 remake was sick.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
But I loved it for its ambiance and its lack of characters and its kind of grinding, plotting nature, and not so much about the puzzles that I was just basically using a guide to solve, so I didn't have to kill myself. So
yeah. I really like puzzles a lot. I don't play adventure games. I think from what I understand, I didn't grow up playing these, but like 90s adventure games are sometimes very obtuse.
oh, like Monkey Island and stuff like that.
Yeah, and stuff like that. And like some solutions are very obtuse. They don't even make sense. I like if they make sense or something like that, where I feel like, oh, I get it, kind of thing like that. Or I don't want to be like, oh, that doesn't even make sense. It's fucking dumb or something like that. But so far I haven't run anything like that. There's like some pretty hard. I think the harder puzzles are more like the optional ones in the sense of like getting volts and stuff like that, or unlocking codes and stuff like that. There was one, it took me like 10 minutes to figure out because it was like in a different language. And I was like, oh, of course, that's what it means. So that was fun. But so far it hasn't been like crazy. You know, they don't want you stuck on stuff forever, at least the main story stuff. So I think so far that's been pretty good. Let me read this from the Who Fan 1. Hello, summoners and summoned. I am 4 hours into Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, and while I do feel the level design as well as the loot and document collecting resembles Dishonored, I think the game feels more like an evolution of the venture genre in the vein of Myst. As someone who platinumed all 3 Dishonored games and played through each of them 3 times a piece, I love exploring every corner of the levels, discovering every document, and collecting every coin. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle seems like it'll scratch that OCD itch for me. The gameplay, however, feels like it will be based more on discovery and mild puzzle solving instead of deciding how to kill or neutralize targets. This feels like it could have a story worthy of the original Indian movies. The exploration and story have me excited to continue playing, but I can see why others may feel the gameplay is lacking. How do two of you feel after hours of playing? So he's kind of in the same boat with you. This is like the Dishonored comparisons that I'm playing the game more. It's like, I guess you kind of Dishonored because you wander around in a space, but that seems to be about like collecting things occasionally. But like you're not planning on like killing a target and like efficiently like being like, how do I get to this certain spot, take out these guards, stuff like that. You're not doing like stuff like that. You're not assassinating a target or anything like that yet. Or like, you know, there's not like lethal or non-lethal. You know, Indiana Jones, you just beat the shit out of him, I suppose, the whole time. I guess you could shoot guys occasionally, but
yeah, I haven't shot my gun yet.
I shot like a couple guys just to see it. It doesn't matter. There's no like rating system, thank God, or anything like that. But
yeah, Indiana Jones is just fucking. I mean, he does kill.
Yeah, he just kills people, dude. Yeah, fuck it.
Interesting.
I love that. Yeah. So
it's interesting.
What do you think about like, I guess like the lack of shooting from Machine Games, though? A studio known for shooters.
Yeah, I mean that is the nature of it. It goes into that famous scene of Indy shooting the guy when it was supposed to be the whip fight or whatever, and
yeah,
how even in the movie they understood that you can kind of break this all by just using guns. And I'm glad that they didn't rely on that, though. I guess what I'm realizing is that with all this time spent with Machine Games, it's like, damn, I just would have loved another Wolfenstein, because I do, or something else like that's a shooter, because I love their shooters. Like their Wolfenstein games are great. You know, they're really great. And it wouldn't surprise me that people might see a little Dishonored in what they're doing. I mean, there's probably some sort of publisher osmosis between these teams.
They were, both owned by Xbox.
Right. And with Bethesda for many years. So that wouldn't surprise me a great deal, actually, if there's some accuracy to that. I only played the first Dishonored and I didn't beat it, so I have no insight into it. And I don't know why people say I'd really like Dishonored. The thing I remember the most about it is that I thought it looked like BioShock, which is just visually.
Yeah.
I miss the shooting, but that's not what this is. I mean, if you're going to do an Indiana Jones game, you got to understand that that's not what it's going to be, or at least it won't be that much. And honestly, Brad, I was thinking about you because the first person whipping reminds me a little bit of like, I wonder what Castlevania would be like. We
had someone wrote in about that, actually.
Oh, okay.
I don't know where it is in the show, but I definitely remember taking someone's question of that because I was like thinking about that as well.
Let's see. Oh, and it says here, it's Krangus McBasketball. He says, hello, sexy vampires. With you guys having time as Indiana Jones and more specifically his whip in the first person perspective, do you think that a first person Castlevania could work? If Konami finally dusts off this legendary IP, I'd want to see something fresh personally rather than a 50th Metroidvania style game. You better be careful, buddy. What say you boys? We've only had 7 of them. I'll hang up myself and listen. Yes, I stole that joke from the write-in on Punching Up. I'll hang myself and listen. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, so that was the letter. Sorry, I searched for it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm glad you found it. Yeah, so with Castlevania, I feel like Castlevania to me is a little more agile, and I don't think first person would work in it as well. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I know.
the platforming and stuff like that. I think third person is the way to go with Castlevania. I'm not saying there couldn't be a good first person Castlevania that could be done well. I just feel like it's a little, when you're first person, I feel like with how much platforming there is in Castlevania and how non-grounded it is in the sense of like your movement, I think I'd kind of miss it. But like, I don't know if I'd want a slow, more methodical Castlevania, I guess, or like walking. Like, it could be cool parts, but I need that kind of action, that hyper movement, I suppose, like that. Like,
Yeah,
once in a while you want to do a fucking Richter Belmont slide or something like that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I get it, but at the same time, it would be cool to, like, the early Castlevania games are plotting. Like, they don't
but you're
move.
still doing a lot of, I guess, platforming.
Yeah, the platforming wouldn't work. And I also have to be clear, I'm not really even making a case for
it is
a first-person Castlevania. It just made me, like, seeing that, like, whip, thinking of, like, a skeleton or a zombie or a Medusa head in 3D. But obviously, the 3D Castlevania games are third-person, and that is what I would prefer. And but what I'd really prefer is another Metroidvania Castlevania game more than anything. So,
you want like a 2D one, right?
Yeah, I would take 2D over 3D any day of the week. But I think if they will do a 3D Castlevania game at some point, and if they're not already making one, and so we'll just have to see. And that's fine. There are 3D Castlevania games that work, so I'm not worried about it.
I want 3D back more, just because I feel like 2D Castlevania. I mean, obviously they're not Castlevania games, but the void has helped and been filled by a lot of Metroidvanias in the indie space.
That's a great point.
3D, that 3D feel.
That would be the only chance of making it relevant too.
Yeah, you're right. From at least a bigger scale, I suppose, but it is a risk. I mean, you want to make it big, and you have From Software doing it. They're already fucking toying with that kind of stuff already. So, but I don't know if they'll do it. Anyways, yeah, I think whipping a skeleton first person sounds pretty sick. I'm just thinking about that. That exploding in the head, flying, throwing holy water in first person, maybe be cool. Holding up a cross or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. That could be kind of cool. Like, you played Castlevania 64, right?
Yeah, both of them.
Kind of like, there's a couple of parts of that game I like where you just kind of explore some areas. Like, there's like this stained glass area, I remember, right after the hedge maze with the guy with the chainsaw and shit like that. And you're just like going through these like little more narrow spaces. And I really thought that was really cool. So I wonder if they could do something like that.
I always liked Castlevania 64. People were really hard on it because I think people were just not ready to receive it yet.
I do like it. I just think it controls like shit.
Yeah, it does. But everything kind of does. They were figuring it out, especially that kind of early to mid N64 era. I think there was a lot of confusion about how things should feel.
I think the problem is that Mario 64 is like the best platforming on N64. Feeling, especially, and it was the first one, and no one kind of matched up to it still. But yeah, shout out to those games, dude. Put those on Switch Online. Let's go.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool to have access to those again. I have them on N64, but I don't have.
I don't have the second one, Legacy of Darkness.
Yeah, it had that really ugly, like green.
Yeah, the werewolf man.
Yeah. Ugh. That was very like late N64 era box art.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a late one, I'm pretty sure.
I loved the N64 though, because I could buy basically everything that was relevant.
Yeah, because it wasn't
by the end you were getting like that last year 2000, I think, was like 4 games, something like that, of like that were like leading up to Majora's Mask, and then I think there was like a Dr. Mario game that came out that was really good. That was like really late. And a few other things, but that was the end. I loved that era. I missed that era. It's such an impractical place for game developers to be now, where it's like, slow down the game releases, please,
dude. Yeah, I'm dying here, especially like we're just getting Oblivion coming, which could be this week if the rumors are true. So give me a fucking break, man. Claire Obscure is coming out this week too.
Yeah,
can't keep up, dude.
Yeah,
it's fucking brutal. Let's see here. This is from. Oh, no, wait. We read this. Never mind. Oh, wait. Sorry.
No,
here we go. This is from Barry.
Cahill.
Yeah, Barry Cahill. Hello, chaps. Have to say I'm disappointed at the news that the physical version of Indie on PS5 will only have a fraction of the game on the disc, basically reducing it to a coaster. Will this be the fate of every Xbox game released on PS5 on disc in the future, do you reckon? Yes.
Yeah, I also just think, for the games with huge packages, I don't think that they want to. I don't think they want to pay for an extra disc to publish. Then you have to. There was like, let's put it this way: when Final Fantasy VII had their remake or rebirth or whatever had second disc or whatever, that's like an extra expense.
Yeah,
and I just don't know how much they want to eat it, especially because they're like, we're doing you kind of a favor by bringing these games over at all. I do think, I say this over and over again, I do think this calls into question the entire idea of discs.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you're buying things to put on your shelf because you like it, it's cool. I get it. See?
Yeah.
I get it. If you're buying it for practical reasons because you want access to your game in the future, understand that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Because you will have no access to it as long as if these networks go down. And if you're saying that on the other side of the coin, people won't have access to their games if the networks go down, then we are, the same fate befalls us both, no matter whether you have the digital version or the disc version. So why would you even bother with a disc version? That's an inescapable piece of truth that you can't get away from. And that's the bigger thing, I think, with these discs is like, what are you really buying? This isn't new, by the way. This has been going on for many years, but
yeah. It's just games are getting bigger and bigger and they're not fitting on the discs as much. Like you said, Rebirth was a very special case. Not a lot of people aren't willing to do that kind of stuff. And I get it. But I don't know. I'm going through that. Like for me, all my stuff's digital. The only thing I have physical nowadays is Switch stuff. Because I don't know. I just like physical Nintendo stuff and they keep their value pretty good. But with Switch 2, I'm like, I don't know, man. Might be time to go digital for Nintendo. I'm not sure.
It's been time.
I guess, but like, I don't know. Like a lot of these Nintendo games I have, like I could still sell for a lot if I want. Like I have Mario 3D All-Stars, dude. I could sell that for like $70 or $100 probably easily. No problem. I don't really want to sell them, but I don't know. Yeah, we're just getting to the point where physical is going away, and it's just the reality of things. It's going to happen. PS6 might be digital only. Who knows?
Yeah, I doubt it. I mean, I think that.
Well, I think it's gonna be like Pro, where it's digital only, but you have to buy a hard drive.
Yeah. Okay.
But maybe there won't. Well, yeah, maybe PS6 will be the last. At least the first half of it will have discs. I think.
I agree. I actually agree with you if that's what you're saying, is that there'll be like a disc drive option and everyone buys the same console. That I can imagine is true, actually. But where we all buy the standard base discless console with some level of modularity that lets you attach things to it, because I just think that there is going to be money to be made there still, but it's becoming less and less important. And again, I can't help but escape, because again, I get all of the arguments for physical media, from liking completionism and having things on your shelf and showing things off and all that, to the idea of having a repository of games that are not contingent on connectivity and all of the rest. But I simply say that once your physical game is contingent on connectivity, because Indiana Jones will not work.
Yeah,
if you put it into an internetless console, then we are in the same position, whether you have the digital or physical version. And that is the inescapable truth. And so the more that happens, the more people are going to have to confront what they're really doing. Because at that point, I don't get it. We both need PSN to be up at that point. Yeah,
totally. Yeah. And like, I don't know. I don't really sell my games anymore, like we did when we were younger, because we were poor.
Yeah, I
sold so much cool shit. I wish I didn't sell.
I came to my senses in high school and like the early 2000s, and went back and bought a bunch of stuff that I sold. And because I sold my whole SNES collection basically when I got my PS1, because that's the only way I could afford it.
I know.
And I went
so
back.
Many PS1 games.
I did keep some of them, but I sold most of them. And then things were still cheap on eBay in 99, 2000, 2001. And I bought so much shit, dude, like that. I went back and just was like, oh my God, why did I sell Xenogears? Why did I sell Brave Fencer Musashi? Why did I sell Final Fantasy Tactics? Like I sold all these things. And then I bought them back still at a fraction of what they would cost now. So glad I did that.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I bought some of my old PS1 games. Like I used to have Vandal Hearts and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, sick. Yeah, by the time the PS2 era, I mean, in the late PS1 era too, but like into the PS2 era, Dreamcast era, I wasn't selling games anymore. At that point, I was like, I'm not.
Yeah, I did at the beginning, I think, but then near the end of it is when I stopped selling stuff, definitely, because I was like, fuck, man, Well, I mean, I could at that point I could start like earning money, get a job and stuff like that. But
yeah, right. The resources weren't as precious. I mean, there was no way I was going to afford the Final Fantasy 7 and a PS1 without selling all that shit. It wasn't going to happen. But I'm sad that I did it.
Yeah,
because those are my copies. Like I have some of the copies of my games. Like I never sold my NES games, for instance. Like that wasn't a thing that ever happened. And those are like my real copies. We're going to talk about one of them. Like I have my childhood copy of that game, and there is something to that. It's the same thing with my GI Joes. Like these GI Joes are GI Joes, and all the GI Joes I've collected I bought off the internet. The ones that I played with as a kid are all put away. Yeah, like those are mine that I played with.
I feel you, man. Like I don't know what happened to my Ocarina of Time, the first edition, the gold one, gold cart, gold box. I just don't know where it is, and it like bums me out because like I could buy a new one, but it's like I just wanted mine. I want mine back.
Yeah, those were so cool. I loved that they did that for Majora's Mask too. I didn't sell my N64 games either because I was too much of a Nintendo fanboy. I really had to make a concession, or it wasn't going to happen. And I needed Final Fantasy 7.
Yeah, dude, it was the hottest shit around when it came out, man. It's so like we're older, so we remember like when that game was coming out and how crazy that marketing campaign was.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I've never seen anything like it at the time.
Very.
It was a fun moment in time, dude. Shout out PS1. What a console. All right, Colin, we're in your wheelhouse right now. I played through Mega Man 5.
Nice.
Every time you're on here, I try to play through a Mega Man game a little bit. Slowly make my way through there. Mega Man 5, I want to say, it's hard to say a lot new about Mega Man 5, especially because they didn't add a whole lot, I would say. It's just kind of like a little more maybe refined 4, maybe. Like the Charge Buster's a little different, I think. They did something to Rush. I don't like it as much. Where like you remember how in like Mega Man 3 when he'd get the Rush coil, you jump on him, he would like spring you up.
Mm-hmm.
But now he like kind of jumps up with you, and it makes it a little more awkward to jump off him.
Yeah, it's less useful in this game.
I don't like that as much. It felt like an easier Mega Man game. I mean, of course, it's still Mega Man. You're going to die a lot, but it seemed a little easier. Especially the Robot Masters seemed a little bit easier to me. I'm not really sure. Like maybe because the Buster is just getting better now that it charges, and I feel like it's more useful for everything. But I think Mega Man 5 is pretty good. I did enjoy it, but I was like looking at people's impressions of this game, and it's kind of like the overlooked one, I would say.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? 5?
Yeah, it is. 5 and 6 in some sense. I think people are more intrigued by 6 because it's such a late release. It was almost a
NES game,
when it came out. 5 is overlooked because I think so. I remember 5 came out. I want to say I got it for Christmas when I was in 3rd grade, so that would have been 1992.
Yeah,
and by that point, we already had SNES, and I think people were beginning to move on. And so I think NES releases. Of course, this is famously why Capcom didn't even publish Mega Man 6 in the West, and Nintendo picked up the baton because they were like, "What's even the point? Like, we already sold millions of copies of Street Fighter on
right, yeah,
and like all these things. Like, we don't need to continue to release NES games." So I think by virtue of that, I think it kind of got lost in the mix. But I think it's a really strong game. It is. So beginning in 3, but really more in 4, they start the archetype of like there being a secondary sort of set of stages that are in addition to like the Wily Castle. So,
yeah, there's like 2 castles.
Right. And so in 3, you have like, you go back to those 4 stages, the Darkman stages, then you go to Wily's Castle. In 4, you go to Dr. Kosek's Castle, and then you go to Wily's Castle. And in 5, you go to Proto Man's Castle, and then you go to Wily's Castle. And 6 continues that with Dr. X and so on. And that's why I was so, or Mr. X. And that's why I was so bummed with 9 and 10 when 9 followed the Mega Man 2 kind of mantra of like one set of, and then so with 10, I was like, oh, they're going to do like the extra
right
set, and they didn't. I was like, that's so disappointing. What they also didn't add the slide or anything like that. It was just very traditional.
Yeah. I can understand getting rid of the charge shot and stuff like that.
Me too.
But the slide, man,
I would get rid of the charge shot. I mean, we talked about that when we talked about 4. Like, I think it's fun.
It's more of an X thing, I feel like.
It breaks the game a little bit.
Yeah. I feel like it works better in the X series. Fits a little better in there, in my opinion.
Right. And that's what's funny is now you're getting into the position. So it would go like Mega Man 4, 5, X, 6, X2 is the release order from here. And so your R start, like the next Mega Man game in sequence will be Mega Man X, which is so
Really?
which is so fascinating. X is 93.
When did 7 come out?
7 was 95. 6 was 94.
Wow. That's crazy.
And so in the West, I should say, of course. So yeah, I love the robots. So what do you, Mega Man 5's robots? I think actually really strong group.
Oh, the Robot Masters.
Yeah. What do you think of them?
I think their stages are pretty cool. I mean, I gotta say, like, the visuals in this game are very good.
No, they're awesome.
I feel like, we're getting near the end of the NES life cycle, and they just look crazy good. Like, I remember Napalm Man stage had like palm trees and stuff, like moving in the wind. I was like, oh man, we've come a long way from like Mega Man 1 and 2 backgrounds.
Definitely.
Super sick. They're trying like a little more variety. Like Wave Man has like that jet ski or hover bike kind of section like that. So I appreciate things like that. I really like the Gravity Man stage where it has like the up and down arrows.
I love it. I love that.
It's really cool. It's really good shit. I love that a lot. I'm trying to remember, like, Stone Man I didn't really care for his stage or like him at all. I don't like his power either.
Kind of like Hard Man stage.
Yeah, he's like a less cool Hard Man to me.
Yeah. He's tall, so he's hard to like move, and he's like mega strong, so he's hard to
I thought Charge Man was sick because he's just a train.
Yeah.
It's so cool, dude.
Yeah, he's super cool.
Yeah. I think Wave Man, he looks really cool. I like his design a lot. I thought Wave Man was sick. Starman's a cool idea too.
Yeah, his stage is cool too, where you're in space.
Yeah. Gravity Man, I think, was my favorite. Gyro Man, I honestly like barely. I remember his fight, but I barely remember his stage at all. And same with Crystal Man. Oh, Crystal Man, I kind of remember a little more because it had like a lot of colors. I'm pretty sure. But I did like going through their stages. I think as I've played through these Mega Man games, I like the Robot Master stages more than like the castles. I kind of like lose a little steam. I don't know why whenever I get to the castles, I feel like I really wish they made it. Maybe you could tell me this is possible. Like beating a lot of these castle stages without having to use like Rush and other stuff like that. Like the spear thing that they added in this game as well.
Yeah,
like
Super Arrow.
Yeah, that was like very Darkwing Duck, kind of the same era on NES as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think it's a pretty good Mega Man. I could definitely see why a lot of people skip over it because it doesn't really add much new. Well, it adds. I didn't get it, but the bird guy, I missed like one
beat.
Yeah, I missed one power up. Like the thing to spell Mega Man 5. Reminded me of Donkey Kong a lot, collecting the Kongs.
Yeah, he's
That's
really
interesting.
You can go back to the stages, which is cool. That's not new here because I think you can do that in 4 too. But yeah, you collect all those icons, and then you
he's really useful.
He's useful
and
at the end.
Because I was like, the final boss, I was kind of like, like he like first he does like this thing, he's like in a UFO and he kind of smashes down. Then he does like the disappearing and appearing thing like that. I'm like, all right.
Yeah,
I appreciate they changed Wily up though.
Yeah, Beat like will show you where he is.
Exactly. People were saying like, oh, if you have Beat, it's way better or something like that. I'm like, okay, that's fair. I totally get that. I do like that they bring Eddie back, the little robot guy that gives you stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, he's awesome.
I'm trying to think what else did they add in this that's new. Oh, they added the M tank. Is that what it's?
Master. I think it's Master Tank.
Yeah, that thing is sick because one of my complaints with the old ones is if you run out of like Rush stuff like that, you have to game over essentially to get it back. But now you can at least save one of those. So I was very happy about that. But it's a good game. I'm looking forward to going through 6 sometime now. But I'm very happy I played through 5. I'm looking at the Robot Master designs right now, and I'm like, yeah, man, they're pretty cool looking. Charge Man, yeah, he's just a dumb train. I like that.
Yeah, he's awesome. I love his stage actually when you're just on the trains and the train is subtly moving up and down. That's another like just really cool effect. Capcom mastered the NES in a way that no other company.
Yeah, they were flexing on that thing,
except for Nintendo, of course. But yeah, it's I love the array of enemies. I think the Gyro Man fight is a little subpar just because you use the gravity weapon, the gravity hold on him, and you're just basically pressing the button.
Oh my god. The thing you get from Charge Man, the slide.
Yeah, the slide.
That sucks, man.
It's annoying.
I hate the slide.
Yeah, because you have to use your body to which is
that shit's whack.
Yeah, Top Spin was really the first, and that's Mega Man 3 was the first weapon that made you use your body, and then the charge kick does, and it's not the last one that will do it, but it's tough to utilize properly.
Yeah, It like playing through these Mega Man games is like made me like Mega Man 3 was my favorite, but I'm like, man, Mega Man 3 is like the worst running one by far.
It sucks.
It's crazy.
And they did clean it up. Like you can play a cleaned up version of it, but it doesn't. There's something about playing it that way that you just become part of your muscle.
I'm not playing the clean up version. I'm playing how it was, dude.
Yeah.
That's the way it is, man.
Yeah, I don't know that I mean, I'm sure I'd be able to do it, but I would have to like relearn some of it too.
Yeah, because you have to take down, slow down the count, and how you play and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, 6. I'm really excited to get to 7 because I've never played 7. So that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, 7 is where 7 is maybe my least favorite one. But
yeah, I haven't heard great things about it, but I'm looking forward to it.
There's just a problem with conversion of SNES, like NES to SNES. Dave and I talk about this a lot with Metroid, like because everything was in 4:3 aspect ratio. And the entire idea of the SNES was like richer color and sprites, like bigger sprites. So everything got bigger and more detailed. And things just are too big. They get too big. Yeah. It's the reason why Brawlers, I think, really fell off in some sense on the SNES, because I'm like, damn, things are just so fucking big. Everything's so much quainter in the NES era because they kept things so much smaller. And in other words, what would have really been nice was the NES to SNES jump happened alongside the 4:3 to 16:9 jump. And then you would have had a real like revolution, although you would have had so much more to render and it would have not been possible. But that's a nerdy kind of, it's not even an insight, it's just a thought.
No,
and
yeah, cool.
why I'm one of the people that I'm like, I love the original Metroid so much more than Super Metroid, mostly because she's so fucking big. Why is everything so
Super Metroid?
Big? Yeah, why is everything so big? And that's what happened. And we didn't have that problem again when it went to 32-bit and 64-bit, because it's like then they just jumped everything into 3D, and so there was like a whole new way of looking at games. But in other words, things didn't get bigger and richer again necessarily. They did. I mean, you have games like Symphony of the Night and stuff that are incredible.
Yeah, those are good size though.
No, perfect, because I think the design philosophy behind that game maintains it as one of the most beautiful games ever. So can't question it, really.
So you played Metroid 2 on Game Boy then, right?
Yeah, the Return of Samus or whatever.
How huge Samus was in that game, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah. It was cool though. We had that and Kid Icarus. It was interesting to get sequels on Game Boy. Felt like, and then they just went away, both of them, for a while. Super Metroid came back. Kid Icarus came back way later. Because I want to say
they did a 3DS one. I was going to ask, did you play the 3DS one?
That was Rising or whatever. Was that what it was called?
Yeah, I think so.
I played it at IGN a little bit, but I wasn't really into it. It's not the Kid Icarus that I want.
Of course.
I love that character though. Pit is like a exceptional character.
Yeah, you're probably so pumped when they added him to Smash.
Yeah, that was in Brawl, right? Yeah, he was awesome. He was really annoying to fight against because of his arrows and all the rest. Yeah, I was so amped. He's a great character, and Kid Icarus, the original Kid Icarus, is fucking super good. Like a really, really good game. Hard as rocks.
Oh yeah, NES game, baby. They're all hard as fuck. Most of them, pretty much. Like you were talking about Metroid 1. I'm like, Jesus, Metroid 1 on NES when I was going through that for the first time. Holy moly.
That's the kind of game you have to map. Like you have to play. You either have to know it or you have to draw it out.
Yeah. You better get that Nintendo Power out. That's what I'm saying. I think I used the Nintendo Power for that because I was just like, what the fuck am I doing in this game? What a crazy ass game. Okay, let's see here. This is from Diddy Dong's Quest. Hey, Brad and Colin. Not sure if you remember me, but I'm the guy who inspired you to play through all the Mega Man games. Brad, how are you feeling about the Robot Masters in 5? Looking back on it, I really enjoyed that batch of bosses for avoiding tropes like Fire Robot and Ice Robot. I think every boss has a cool design and concept, except for maybe Stone Man. I love Wayman's Trident. The final Robot Master of all time, or my favorite Robot Master of all time is Charge Man for being a goofy little train. P.S. The artist behind the One Punch manga designed Crystal Man. Wow, that's pretty cool.
I think I heard that somewhere. Yeah, because this is when, well into the Capcom opening up, the audience would design all the enemies.
Yeah,
and I loved that. And then obviously they would redraw it in like their style. I have a book somewhere. It's on my shelf in the other room of a lot of the early stuff and like how they translated it, which is really cool.
Did you submit drawings for that, or was it Japan only?
There was Mega Man 6 opened it up to the West, and I did submit. Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what you submitted?
Yeah, I think it was Devilman, and I think that was the idea I always had, and I think it's funny he brings up Waveman's Trident because I think that was heavily inspired by that in the sense that I think Waveman is the first, and Napalm Man would be the first bosses to have like arm cannons that have something coming out of them like visibly without them using them, as opposed to like empty little shells that would shoot whatever, which is cool too. I love that. And so I loved that Waveman had like the trident coming, or like the harpoon coming out of his arm. And so I drew like crudely and horribly, but I drew like a trident, like a devil poker kind of
pitchfork thing.
Like a pitchfork, right? And had that coming out of his arm cannon.
They've never done Devilman?
No.
That seems like something they would have done. Wow. I forget. After all these years, never Devilman.
Yeah, they've done some weird ones.
No, like Demon Man or anything.
Yeah, I guess you do need to. Well, do you? I mean, I guess there's everything kind of supposed to have a practical application, and I don't know, but there are others that don't have practical applications. Like
you just be like some fucking crazy cult made Robot Masters. I don't know.
Yeah,
something like that. Cult Man.
Yeah, that would be cool. Like something that's like yeah, that's interesting actually. Yeah, I wonder. I feel like they will do a Mega Man 12 at some point, and I am interested to see like what they do with the bosses next.
Yeah.
It's always the best part. It's the best part for me.
Oh yeah, Robot Masters main event every time. All right, this is from Nick. Yo boys, in regards to Mega Man, I need your input on who the sexiest Robot Master is. And don't even think about copping out by saying Splash Woman. All right. No Splash Woman. Sexiest.
Yeah, Splash Woman. That would be an interesting choice. Sexiest.
Clown Man.
Clown Man, yeah. That's a good... I'm Clown Man. That's the scariest part is the voice acting.
I know. I can't wait to get to 8 again.
I'm looking at some of the... I need like a better... Let's see. Mega Man Robot Masters. I need like just a visual of them in high res.
Hey, maybe depending what you're into, Tengu Man. He's got a pointy nose.
Oh my goodness. I had it's funny. I went to a comic convention on Long Island in the late 90s, and I bought a Tengu Man like model that was from Japan.
Whoa.
And it was pretty cool. And I had a Sword Man model as well, who's also from Mega Man 8.
Sword Man. Yeah.
It's surprising they took so long to get to Sword Man.
Yeah. Search Man. I'm looking at this guy right now. He's 2 heads. He's got like a bazooka. Holy shit. What's your deal?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What's your deal with like the PS2 X games? Did you play those?
Yeah.
Like X7, 8.
Yeah, it's 6, 7, and 8, right? Or the 8. Yeah. I last played them for... Or did I even get that far, actually? So it might have even been when they came out I last played them. I wrote a strategy guide for IGN, I guess. So for Mega Man X Collection, that would have been the last time I played them. But then there was... So that was like 20 years ago because that was PS2. And then the collections came out in 2019, but I think I only played the first one, which would be X through X4. I like them through X5. After that, I think
X5 is when they started to lose me a bit.
Yeah.
But then after that, I was like, all right.
I mean, X1, 2, and 3 are immaculate. Those games are fucking
X4 is my favorite.
Exceptional. Oh, X4 is your favorite. So when it jumps to PS1. Interesting.
PS1. Yeah, that's like my favorite Mega Man game.
Magma Dragoon.
Magma Dragoon. Yeah. So good, dude.
Yeah, the bosses are really cool. And they're not as cool as the Robot Masters.
No, they're not.
But they're
not as cool.
They're cool.
Yeah.
But they're cool in their own right. I'm trying to answer the question. It's like Iceman. Maybe I'd pick Iceman because he does that little thing with his mouth like this.
Oh, that's a good pick, dude.
He's just like that, you know? So maybe Hardman, just because I feel like
Hardman, yeah. Woodman.
Yeah, Woodman's in there. Snake Man.
Oh, Snake Man's pretty, yeah.
That's Dagan's favorite. Not for sexual reasons.
That we know
How
of.
about Pump Man? He's sexy.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. But I'm going to go with Iceman because of the smell.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to go with Tengu Man. All right. Let's see here. This is from Pair of Shoes. Hello, Indiana Jones and the Great Brad and Lunar Silver Colin story. You wake up on the operation table and realize Dr. Wily has just completed his finishing touches on turning you into a robot master. What robot master would he turn you into? Bad Back Man? Constitution Man? Or perhaps Barber Man? Thanks for all the great content. I wish you both a great week. All right, what robot master are you becoming?
Depression Man.
Depression Man? That's
Yeah.
a really good one.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to fight Chris for that though.
Yeah, Chris can be Suicidal Man.
Suicidal Man, Depression Man.
And
yeah, we need robot masters for everyone at this company. Gene's Gooner Man.
Gooner Man.
Hoaglaw, I guess, would be like Lawman or
Lawman.
Lawyer Man. Yeah, Lawman. Cog, Buff Man. Guts Man. Look, we already have Guts Man.
Yeah, we already have a
Buff
Guts
Man, I guess.
Yeah, Buff Man.
Matt.
Strong Man.
Strong Man. That's a good one. Yeah, I like that.
That's another one I'm surprised they haven't done.
What about Maddie? What robot master would we make Maddie?
Workaholic Man.
Workaholic Man. Yes, I do like that one a lot. That's really good for Maddie. What about our little boy Dustin? Baby boy Dustin.
Baby boy man.
Baby boy man. Baby boy man. Anime man. Weeb man. Let's do baby boy man. That's
baby
good.
boy man's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll make a little grid of all their faces. With a Moriarty logo in the middle.
Yes. Dagon could be like old man.
Old man. That's perfect. You'd love that.
Oh, Micah. What would she be? Barbecue woman? I don't know.
Yeah, barbecue woman's good. Yeah. I like that. That'll work.
I'm trying to think who we haven't covered. Jaffe would be, I don't know, Crazy Man.
Crazy Man. That works.
Psych Ward Man.
Psycho Man.
Yeah, Psycho Man. Yeah, that's a really good one. For me, you can make me like Dude Man or something like that. Dude Man. I think we got everybody. Did we miss anybody?
I think that's everybody. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, there you go. I am eagerly await all that fan art. So send that in. I'll put him on the show, or I'll make Dustin put him on the show. All right, Colin, it's time for Sort It Out.
Yes.
On this segment, we just talk about something that's bothering us in the game industry. You know, something we're not very happy with. Something that needs a little work. Could be a game, company, human at company, whatever. However personal you want to get. Could be lighthearted as well. Colin, is there anything that you think that needs sorting out this week?
Yeah, I just sorted out Bethesda, I guess, just in this Oblivion situation.
Shenanigan, yeah.
I feel like this obviously started leaking a year or two ago, and that's fine. Games leak or whatever, but the leak seems so preposterous at this point that on one hand, I appreciate a company that's just like, we're going to do what we're going to do. And this is the plan we have and all of the rest. But at some point, your plan has to capitulate to reality, wherein I go to Video Game Chronicle or Push Square or these websites, and I feel like half the stories for a month have been about this impending shadow release of Oblivion. And it's just, if your games are going to leak to such a preposterous degree, you can't do shadow drops, and you can't, like, it doesn't work anymore. So you got to keep a tighter ship, or you can't do cool things like this. And so this is the most I know people are really excited about it, and it's going to be cool. And I'm stoked for people that, it's not for me, but I'm stoked that people are excited to play Oblivion again. But this is like the most anticlimactic thing that's ever been. And at some point, again, you have to capitulate to reality and realize that you've lost the initiative because of your leaky ship. And that's too bad that happened, because I think that it would have been pretty cool to surprise people with it. And it goes back into what I was actually saying on the review of The Last of Us episode 2 for season 2 on Sacred Plus, where I'm like, it's gotten to the point where things should just not even be released ahead of time and shown ahead of time to anyone, because things just inevitably leak at some point. It's just that this happened so long ago that I think they would have had the opportunity to change course and do something different. So it is what it is. It doesn't really matter to the final product. People are excited about it. Clearly, they're probably really amped at Bethesda for how people are excited about that. They're about to make a lot of money on this old game, and it'll also probably push forward Skyrim in some sense. And obviously, I think they're going to release Starfield this year on PS5. I think that's fairly obvious. So it doesn't really matter. I just have been frustrated by it, and I'm like, damn, how can this be so leaky? How can so many people be talking about this?
Yeah, for so long as well.
Yeah, like openly. The only other possibility is that there are some people that are full of shit that aren't really insiders and are kind of being vague about it and vague posting and stuff like that. But I don't think so. It just seems like there's whether I don't want to call out specific names, I guess, because I don't know who really had it and who didn't, but it's like there just seem to be like a half dozen people that know. And that's not a lot for behind the scenes. I know a lot about a lot of things. It's a lot for people that are willing to talk about it, which means it's kind of off the record or on background or told to you by someone that shouldn't be telling you. It's not like you being in friend DA mode and being told, oh, I'm working on this, but don't report on it. So it's just very strange. It's a shitty situation, but
yeah,
got to keep a tighter ship.
Yeah. I'm excited to play because I've never played Oblivion. The only Elder Scrolls game I've played is Skyrim, so I'm looking forward to playing and trying because I know a lot of people love it. But if it comes out this week, it's just there is no good time anymore, I feel like, but Clair Obscur is coming out this week and I want to play that as well. It's just like, man, give me a break, dude. Dying here. Let's see. For me, I'm just going to give it to Nintendo. One thing, or a couple things, like their messaging has just been all over the place and there's been so many mixed things going on and misinformation spreading around, and they did not do a very good job, I think, about getting that message out there for Switch 2. Like, we should not have had $90 rumors for games going as long as they did and stuff like that. I mean, people shouldn't put that out unless they know for sure, but you got to do that stuff in the bud kind of thing like that. And I just looked up the price of Joy-Con 2 controllers and it's like $90 something dollars. And it's like, bro, for Joy-Cons? What are we doing here? $95 for Joy-Cons.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Just for basic Joy-Cons. And it's like, I understand controllers are expensive. Like, you know, like what a DualSense by itself is like, what, $70, $80, something like that.
Now, yeah.
And it's like, shit's getting expensive. It's just like, fuck, man. $94 is so much for like Joy-Cons, but I don't know.
It's a good margin business, I think, for them.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They'll lean into that.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
People seem really upset about Nintendo. I don't
they seem
know.
Upset.
I don't. Yeah, that's so you're getting to where I'm going. It's like, yes. I need to now see, because I don't know that I believe it.
I don't believe, like, I believe it somewhat, but not as much as people make a big deal out of it. I think a lot of people are going to complain and be very upset, but they'll still buy it. And it's just the way it is, because gotta play those Mario games, baby. All right. This is from Jace Tamulovic. Sort it out, Brad. Good sir, I recently heard you encourage Mike to try Tears of the Kingdom, praising the building mechanics, and then cast disparity on Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts for similar features. Boring open world forced to build ridiculous contraptions and insulting to the game that came before it. Oh yes, I do believe I see some similarities. Hey, Jace, you need to stand down and wise the fuck up, okay? Just because you build in Tears of the Kingdom doesn't mean that they're the same quality. Anyway, the fact that you're comparing Tears of the Kingdom world to Banjo-Kazooie is an insult. It makes me think you've never played any of these games and you know what the hell you're talking about. All right?
Typical.
So educate yourself. Nice try on that. And you don't have to build a fucking gyrocopter, all right, all the time in Tears of the Kingdom. You don't have to do that. They give you the options. You can make a bridge out of anything if you want. You don't have to go in a stupid lab and build some dumb shit. You just do it right there. You don't have to go to a menu or anything like that. It's just all right there. Nice try on that gotcha, though, Jace.
I never played Nuts and Bolts.
You don't have to. It sucks.
Oh, I won't.
Yeah, it sucks. It's an insult.
I didn't really like Banjo-Kazooie to begin with, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it was cool because it was very different when it first came out, especially for the console it was on, but I was like, I'm not that into this. This is fine.
Yeah. But, Micah was worried about the building. She thinks it's going to be too overwhelming for her. But I'm like, well, she's going to try Tears or Breath of the Wild, though, so we'll see how that goes. She's threatening me to play it on Switch 1.
Yeah, she's weird.
Like,
she has this thing where she pretends she can't see frame rates.
I know, she does do that all the time. Frame rate, resolution, she can't see any of it.
Yeah, she doesn't know nothing about nothing. Yeah. Just give her the games.
It's infuriating. I'm just fucking with you, Jace, but yeah, they're not even close to the same. Shyborg wrote in, hi, singing summoners. We need to sort it out for gung-ho online entertainment for botching the release of the physical version of the Lunar Collection. Deciding to make the release an Amazon exclusive with no pre-orders is a recipe for disaster that everyone seems to have rightfully predicted. I know Micah predicted as much as well, as they all sold out on the first day with the PS4 version selling out within hours. Their Q&A stated there would be plenty of copies for everyone interested at launch, which obviously has turned out not to be true. The CEO has since stated that they're going to print more copies, but we have no idea how long that process is going to be. sort it out and let people who are interested in your game pre-order it, since you never know what niche game is gonna garner a surprise interest. So, Lunar, yeah. I guess they're surprised about how many people they didn't let you pre-order the game, I guess.
Right. No, they didn't.
Which is strange. I don't know why they would do that.
Yeah, me neither. I when things like this happen, it's not that I try to take the corporate point of view, because I think that they're wrong a lot. It's just that I try to see the other side, or I try to like figure out why a decision is made. It's because there's all sorts of reasons why you'd make decisions that aren't intuitive and are annoying. And so I try to look at decisions through that. And I've been really marinating on this, especially because Micah was personally affected by this, because she actually had to end up getting an X, because what ended up happening actually was the PS4 and Xbox versions went up first, but not the Switch versions. Then, so she pre-ordered an Xbox version, but she really wanted a Switch version. And then she woke up later to like use the bathroom and looked, and then those had randomly went up. So she got it like in the middle of the night, serendipitously, and canceled the Xbox version. It was a total mess. And I was like, well, so I was trying to think it through, right? I'm like, are the games not ready? And it's like, well, no, that's nonsense. People have had the game in code version for a long time. So you can manufacture and get games shipped within weeks, especially if you're a publisher of some size. And that was the next thing I was thinking of. I was like, all right, who's publishing this? And it's Gung Ho. Like, Gung Ho is not a small company. They're not huge, but they can afford to publish whatever they need. And then I was like, well, why would they not take pre-orders? And then it's like, well, it's Amazon. Amazon takes pre-orders. Like, you're able to do that there. I pre-order things there. So it's not that. And I just kind of went down the line, and the answer is like, I really don't know why you wouldn't take pre-orders. You can manufacture more easily what you need. As someone who is paid to manufacture PS4 games, I know what it takes. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
Right.
Like seriously, like I'm like incompetent, and I've published games on PS4, right? Like physically. So you can do it. So I don't know. It's like a really weird situation, and it can't even be about the demand, because if you were questioning demand or thinking that it would be soft, why would you do it at all? So yeah, so in other words, in trying to think about the rational reason why things happen, there are just sometimes irrational things that happen. And this is one of those situations, and I'd be shocked to hear a more rational reason why you couldn't take pre-orders and stuff. Like there are companies that take pre-orders for games and then don't ship them for fucking 2 years. I think you can get away with doing it for a few months. You know,
limited run. Yeah,
it's crazy. I get things from limited run. I don't get them really anymore because I stopped ordering from them. But just when they do a Mega Man or specifically a Castlevania thing, I would buy it, and then things have shown up where I'm like, I don't even remember buying this, but okay, cool.
Yeah,
here it is. It's been that long where I'm like, I guess I bought this.
Do you think tinfoil hat time, artificial scarcity, Nintendo style?
Maybe, but to what end? If you're gonna just republish, then why do this at all?
I don't know.
Because you could imagine that, but that just is gonna piss people off.
Yeah, well, they pissed people off no matter what they did, I suppose. Someone just made some dumb calls, whoever it was, I think.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it. I guess maybe they were like, we don't know what our allotment is going to be in time or something. But the point is if you did this early, you could have garnered your allotment, even if games shipped late. And maybe that was the thing, was that they either didn't have enough money to front, but this is what I'm saying. It's Amazon. And like Gung Ho, I can imagine being like, we don't want to front hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of physical games. We don't have it or whatever, or we're afraid they're not going to sell. That's different. But you're not making, I don't know, man. I know for a fact how these things work behind the scenes. It's like,
yeah,
it's
strange.
Not that complicated. It really isn't. Again, if like our little hodunk fucking operation can do it, these guys can too.
Yeah, weird stuff, man.
Yeah, it's a bummer. It's a bummer because I think a lot of people missed out, and now they're gonna have to wait. It's a lot like the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster situation where you're gonna get it, but you don't know when it's gonna come, and now you have to kind of get in line. This is the reality of printing. You can do it. You just have to get your shit in order and wait for your turn. You know?
Well, I hope that means Lunar's doing fairly well. I hope.
I think it is. Anecdotally, it seems like a lot of people comparable to other games are playing it on my PlayStation list, which is cool. I think there's a lot of nostalgia around it. The only bummer is that Game Arts has released it so many times that it's probably blunted a little bit what people's excitement. This will be like the last time they'll be able to really do it.
Yeah, I've never played it, so I'm very excited to play them eventually. Because I always remember growing up and seeing those boxes and being like, "Cool, this looks sick."
It is,
Just never got around to
those
it.
boxes were sick, definitely.
Okay, this is from Player X. What's going on, guys? I'm issuing a sword out to people who claim a lot of retro games didn't hold up over time. That 30-year-old game didn't change a bit. You did. You're the one who didn't hold up, you mook. Wow. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I don't know if that's really true. I mean, it is literally true that the game didn't change and that we changed, but that is the perception of art over time and entertainment over time. So something that can seem great, especially, I think it goes especially in one direction, which is I don't think things get better over time necessarily. I think that they get worse over time if they weren't great to begin with, if that makes sense. So you're exposed to a different, usually more effective, more fun, more aesthetic way of doing something. You go back and then you look at these 3D games look at Bubsy 3D or something. It's the ugliest thing you've ever seen in your life. And that's a bad example because everyone hated that game. But if you look at like Mario 64, like Mario 64 has a style and I'm used to it because we all know what it looks like, but it's not a good looking game. I mean, it's very rudimentary. It's very, and 3D games have gotten way better than that. So when you go back to that, it doesn't hold up as well because it's not castigating the item or the object for what it is. It's like looking at it through a more modern lens and going back and revisiting something. Those things are different. It doesn't take away what it was. It takes away or changes what it is. That's just the way it goes. That's true for many things.
Yeah, just the way it goes, man. All right, this is from Kazdan Risk. Hey, Slippy, Slimy, Summon Ussies. With Brad playing Metroid Prime 2, I have a sorted out for Nintendo. Where are the remasters of Metroid Prime 2 and 3? I assume Retro Studios only remastered the first game to help train themselves for Metroid Prime 4, but I'm annoyed we can't play the full trilogy on Switch. Sorted out Doug Bowser. Take care. I mean, yeah, I think it's annoying that you can't play them legally on Switch until after Prime 4 is out. Like, we're gonna get Prime 2 on that GameCube online service eventually. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, I assume so.
3, I don't know because it's a Wii game. I'm not really sure what they're gonna do about that. But it would be great if they at least just ported, because they did the trilogy on Switch, or I'm sorry, on Wii, so they have that kind of laid out. I would hope they could at least port that over or something like that to Switch with the mouse control or the Joy-Con controls and stuff like that already. But I don't know, man. Nintendo's such a weird company. I can never predict. Sometimes they're so smart about things, but other times they make like the most like the dumbest mistakes that seem so obvious. So I never know with that company. I don't think anyone knows, including them. So I don't know. They need to get those on there though, especially for 4, because it's been so long since 3, and you're gonna have a lot of new people coming into it. It'd be great if you let people catch up in some way. So get that shit in order, Nintendo. And I'm sure it's all Doug Bowser's fault. All right, Colin. Keep it up time. The exact opposite. Stuff we're happy with in gaming right now. What do you got? Anything?
Rumors are amiss that that Sony is starting to trim out some of these bullshit publishers from PlayStation Network slowly. It seems like the reporting I was reading, I think it was on, I should have brought it up. I think it was on PS3 Trophies or something, or PS Trophies, the old PS3 Trophies website, where they were noting that it seems like Sony is kind of going after and delisting publishers that are specifically making clone games.
Oh, so, yeah.
This is good. It's a step in the right direction, but we need a much more aggressive stance than this, because it's like, how could this, we're all trying to figure out how this happened. Like the guy, the hot, so I think you should leave hot dog suit scene. And it's like, no, Sony, you're the problem. You're the reason the games got on the market to begin with is because you put them there. So I'm going to applaud you because this is a step in the right direction, but it's not worthy of that much applause. The applause is not going to be that sustained. It's not going to be that loud because you're kind of getting your ducks in a row. But I hope that they continue to do this, depopulate the PSN as much as humanly possible of these games, and make it easier for people to find, buy, play, and enjoy the games that they're actually there for, from big and small publishers and developers alike, that are not trying to game the system for trophies, that are not trying to game the system so you think you're buying Schedule 1 or whatever the case might be. So,
right.
So I was really pleased to see that. You gotta encourage good behavior, even if it's their own fault. And so,
yeah,
shout out to Sony. Keep it up.
Yeah, clean out that shithole. You've been complaining about that for like a decade. I feel like.
Yeah, and it's getting worse and worse. And the thing that bothers me is that I just don't know what they don't get. But there's only so many things I can say, times I can say that, like, I don't know what you don't get.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see them making better decisions and hopefully lifetime banning these entities from publishing. You don't have to worry about them anymore.
Yeah.
And stop selling your fucking dev kits for so cheap and making it so comical to easy. It shouldn't be easy. Shouldn't be easy. It shouldn't be easy to sell something at Walmart either.
Yeah, I get you.
I don't know what you want me to tell you.
Yeah,
just because the marketplace exists doesn't mean you should be able to sell things on it. It's a fucking nonsensical argument.
Yeah. All right. For me, I'm going to give my keep it up to developers Sandfall Interactive. They are the ones making Clair Obscur 33 that comes out this week. It looks very, very fun. I'm very happy to see another turn-based RPG. We love those around here. And it's been interesting with this game, Colin, like hearing people interested in it who I usually don't expect with turn-based games, like Chris, for example. You know, he calls it DVD menu combat, so I'm surprised he's interested in this. I know Cog likes JRPGs and stuff like that, but it's nice to hear everyone at this company pretty excited about this game. I hope it's good. Cheaper game, $50.
Yeah, 45 if you pre-order it.
45 you pre-order it. Yeah, Game Pass. So
yeah, it's on Game Pass.
Really good price. Yeah. So I'm really happy. Hope it's good. I'm looking forward to it. So we shall see. But good, nice work, devs. Get that game out there. Call it Final Fantasy or something like that.
Yeah, Fantasy.
All right. This is from John Barnett. What's up, Brad and Colin? Happy episode 69. Glad this episode's a one-on-one. It's very fitting. That's true. I've got to keep it up for games that are adding arachnophobia modes in the accessibility settings. I've suffered from arachnophobia for basically my entire life, and there are games I just haven't been able to play. I was looking at the game catalog on PS Plus, realized that I could finally check out games like Hogwarts Legacy and Star Wars Jedi Survivor thanks to their patches adding the feature post-launch. I've had some people notice this setting and just say, just get over it, but that's not how phobias work. They can take the expensive exposure therapy to cure, and I shouldn't have to go through that just to play a game. More accessibility is good. I'm just glad to see the industry heading in this direction. Thanks, and have a happy post-episode 69. Yeah, what do you think about this game? Like, or this thing about like games adding like arachnophobia mode and stuff like that?
It's cool. I mean, I don't mind it. It doesn't matter to me. It
doesn't matter to me. I wonder how far we're going to go with stuff like this.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's such a thing as making your like any entertainment too much of a hug box. It's like, okay, let's just change everything about it to make it comfortable for you. But especially in a video game where you're basically rendering files and things are just, you can just change things. Like it would be much more difficult, in other words, with a non-AI tool assisted film to remove elements of it that would otherwise be there. But in a game where you're just like, yeah, just make the spiders fucking
like
ants
blocks.
Or whatever. Yeah. Or blocks, whatever. I don't even know what they do. Yeah. They probably don't make it another bug. It's probably like, yeah, just make it. It's like, it's one of those things I bring up sometimes where I'm like, it doesn't necessarily sit great with me, but I can't really tell you why. And so it can't possibly be a good reason.
Right.
Like where I'm like, I want to say something about it, but I'm like, whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, it's whatever, dude. It's no big deal. I'm happy people can play the game.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like when I'm like, I wonder how far to go. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to add it. I'm just curious like what else we're going to get in the future.
Yeah, sure.
Could we get like human phobia mode or something like that where you're just little blocks running around? That could be interesting. But yeah, I wonder what it looks like in some of these games. I'll have to look into this. Like I know Monster Hunter has it. But yeah, I'm curious about that. Well, I hope you enjoy those games, John. All right. This is from Anthony Ragucci. I wanted to give a keep it up to THQ Nordic. At the beginning of April, they announced that one of my favorite titles of the 6th console generation, Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy, is finally coming to PlayStation Xbox after getting a remaster on PC and Switch a few years back. I waited and waited knowing one day this Zelda-like title would hit the consoles and it would get that sweet, beautiful platinum trophy on the platform I played it on back in the day. THQ Nordic hasn't had the best rep the last few years, but keeping one of my favorite games alive and accessible means the world to me. P.S. I never hear anyone talk about this game. Have you guys even heard of it? Thanks. I have heard of this. I've never played it, though.
Yeah, same. I don't know anything about it.
I want to look at a picture of it again. I do remember hearing this name. Like, I was associated with that Attack and the Power of Jujube game or something like that.
Oh man, that came out. Didn't they re-release that? Maybe not.
Probably. Yeah. Okay. I remember this box art.
Eurocom.
Huh.
Oh, they developed James Bond Jr. That's interesting. Oh, so these guys were around for a little while.
So this is a Zelda-like, huh? Okay.
Oh, they did 007 Legends. Remember that game? That was like
I never played that one.
Yeah, I didn't either. I just remember it was like the janky. There was like a Wii U version of it, I think.
Ugh.
Interesting.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't think I played. Oh, they did Dead Space Extraction. I did play that.
Oh yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I never played this game. It's a licensed game though. Yeah. No. Sphinx.
No, I think it's just a brand. Yeah, it's a standalone thing.
Oh, okay. Well, I always thought for some reason I always thought it was like attached to one of those Egyptian movies from like the turn of the century. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I could see that.
There was like
totally.
3 of them. Yeah. I don't know why I thought that.
Interesting. Well,
I'm happy you're happy.
Yeah. Way to go, Anthony. You got your game, baby. You can get your platinum. Hopefully they have a platinum trophy actually for it.
I'm sure they
will. You never know.
I'm sure they will.
All right,
Colin. Don't hurt him.
I know. I'm sorry. Sorry, Anthony. The platinum's going to be sick. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
All right, Colin. Lunar.
Yeah.
The Lunar Collection has come out. This started on Sega CD, right? I'm pretty sure.
That's right. Yep.
And it got ported a bunch
to
like PlayStation, stuff like that. So it's finally here, though. Again, more accessible than ever. It's out. I bought it. I haven't played it yet, though. But you've been playing it. You have history with this, don't you?
Yeah, I do. And actually, I was just reading ahead. I'll read Clark Petrie's comment here because he says exactly what I want to get into first. And he says, Colin, when did your appreciation of the Lunar series begin? Were you aware of them on Saturn? I was ignorant to their original release, only getting those gorgeous PS1 editions on a whim in the summer of 2001, but then immediately falling in love with them. Always excited to hear any and all Lunar talk be well. I wasn't aware of them on Saturn, and I wonder if you are misunderstood. Like, so the games came out. There are 2 Lunar games. There are more than 2, but the 2 core Lunar games are Silver Star Story, or the Silver Star, as it was originally called, and then Eternal Blue. And those came to Sega CD in Japan, and they came to Sega CD actually in the West in 93. I think the 93 was the first one, and 95, I think, was the second one in the West. And I actually only knew one person I actually knew 2 people that had Sega CD. My brother's best friend, PJ, was a big Sega guy. And then my friend, Eric, had Sega CD. But I never was aware of these games. And the reason I bring up your question, Clark, is because they were ported, the games were, or at least Silver Star Story was ported to Saturn, but not in the West. So I think you're getting them confused, where the Sega CD versions are the ones we got in the West. The Saturn port was the first time they remade Lunar. And then that Saturn port is what got ported to PS1 in 1999 by Working Designs, called Lunar. Because again, the original game is Lunar the Silver Star. Then they called it Lunar Silver Star Story, which was the remake. And then Silver Star Story Complete, which is what we had, was like the PS1 port. And I wrote my notes, and I've been saying this on Sacred, but since we're talking about it here, this first game especially, but both of them, are incredibly nostalgic games for me. As I remember, Lunar Silver Star Story was the first special edition game I ever bought, and there weren't really special editions released back then. I think we were talking recently, maybe not on this show, but somewhere else, where I was saying in the N64 and PS1 era, you started getting pre-order bonuses. So I remember getting like a shirt for Final Fantasy VII. I got a shirt for Zelda, Resident Evil, I think, and like all sorts of things. You get like various things. So that was starting to begin, but the idea of a game getting like a expensive bundled version with shit was not really a thing that happened, at least not on console. It might have been a thing on PC, but not on console. And so the original game, or the Silver Star, so the Lunar Silver Star Story Complete, the PS1 port, came out at the tail end of my 9th grade year, going into that summer, 99. And it came in like a box. It had like a book in it, a map, stickers, all sorts of things. I stuck the stickers on my laptop. I had the shitty Toshiba laptop. And I loved it. And so the cool thing about it was that there's almost an hour, I think it's like 55 minutes or something, of anime cutscenes in it. This is why it was a Sega CD game, because otherwise it looks like the gameplay itself looks like an SNES game. No better than that, which is perfect. And it was all about these anime cutscenes and some voice acting and like songs, like real audio, things that would take advantage of this very primitive optical solution to gaming. And I was just enamored with it because I had never, the reality is that there were websites like GameFAQs at the time and other websites too, where you could really, this is crazy to think about. There were like 98, 99, you could basically know of every role-playing game that's on console. You definitely haven't played them in the West, but you would know these are all the ones for NES. These are all the ones for SNES. There's a few for N64. There's a bunch of them for PS1, some for Saturn. And then there would be like interstitials, like TurboGrafx had Ys 1 and 2 and a bunch of other stuff. And then Ys went to SNES for 3. And so these were games that you kind of just knew about. It was very similar to what I felt about with European only releases or European Japanese releases like Bahamut Lagoon and stuff, where you like knew about these games, but they never came out here.
That game always seems sick, dude. Bahamut Lagoon,
right?
It's like the racing RPG, right? Am I thinking of the right game?
Yeah, I think so. It's the Super Famicom game. That
Wait,
I don't know if it's the right one actually. It's the Super Famicom.
I'm thinking of something else. I gotta look this up. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. So you're aware of all these games, like people that were on GameFAQs at the time remember like everything had like a forum but there was like not a lot of imagery, and you kind of just made assumptions about what things were, and you kept them in your mind. Now this is impossible to do today because there's just too many games released in all the genres. But Lunar was just one of those games, and it was cool because you kind of got to check it off. And I really, really loved it. It's very straightforward. It's very tropey. You play as a character, Alex, who wants to become like the dragon master or whatever. And he's like an adventurer, and he has like an adopted sister that he has like a love interest kind of thing with. But she's like really takes care of him. And then he has like a best friend who's kind of like brash and dumb. And there's like the arrogant mage character. It's very tropey. You have like a very sarcastic, prodding, pet-like, cat-like creature that flies named Null. And it just brings me back, like playing it and enjoying it again brings me back to those days. Like I remember this game coming out. I remember how excited I was. I remember playing. I just remember where I was in that era, that I was 15, right? Where was I? Was I even? No, I was 14. I wouldn't have turned 15 until that fall. So yeah, I don't know. There's something about going back to it. Now, it's worth noting that the games were re-released several times and remade several times. So this is the first. So again, Silver Star's story it's the Silver Star is the original. Silver Star Story is the remake. Then you get a remake, I think, on Game Boy Advance called like Silver Star Harmony.
Yeah.
Then you get the port of the PS1 version, I think, with tweaks on PSP. That's probably the last time I played it personally. And this happens, by the way, for the most part, it happens for both the Silver Star Story and then Eternal Blue is its sequel. And there are some spinoffs, but one of them I think did come out here, but there are a couple spinoffs that never came out here in Japan only. And it's a very nascent series. And one of the things that I think is interesting about it before we even get further into the game is just the studio that makes it, Game Arts. They're like a really strange team. They actually just turned 40 years old. And the last new game that they made was Dokuro, which was a puzzle game on Vita that I think later came to like phones and PC. And that was like early on, like 2012. And they kind of just still exist, but they just re-released their old game. So they are responsible for the PS1 series Grandia. I don't know. It's actually on PS2 as well. Grandia 3 was on PS2. That was like their big series. They did the arcade shooter Sylpheed. I don't know if you know that game. Silpheed. There's a few of those. And then the mech series Gun Griffin.
Okay, I've heard of that. I'm pretty sure.
And I was last night when I was taking notes, I was clicking through their website, and it's like they have a robust web presence for all their games still. Like all their websites for all these games are still up. You can go and look at like the Lunar PSP release websites with all the stuff, English and Japanese. They have like a whole press release repository. And the last press release they released, because I was wondering, I'm like, are these guys really still going? Like they don't seem to do anything. And what I think is going on is they're probably doing a lot of silent contract work. and then kind of nurturing their few franchises as they're able to. And the letter that was released most recently on their PR feed was about their 40th anniversary, which was like last month or 2 months ago. So I'm like, these guys are still very much alive. And I find that so fascinating because they've been going for so long. The PS1 port of the Silver Star was done by Alpha System, which is another, they still exist too, but they're like another role-playing game team. What else is there to say? So combat is very straightforward. And in fact, I think so straightforward that the auto combat feature, which as I recall is in the original too, is nice. And the only addition here that I think they've made is that you can run the game faster, so that auto battle moves faster. And then you can kind of just take control during boss battles, which is what I've been doing. And very similar to a Tales game or other games where you can set your characters and your entire party to AI, you can kind of set it to be like go all out or don't use healing items or whatever to make it perfect for your preferences. But it's otherwise very straightforward. You're grinding levels. There's no real need to grind. It's like Chrono Trigger or later Tales games where you can see the enemies on the screen and you run into them and then you go into a fight. You're buying new equipment. You're earning gold. You're spending it. One thing I wanted to give a shout out to that I don't remember the first time through, but really deserves a tip of the cap, especially considering the time this was made, was they do a shocking amount of refreshing of what the townspeople say. And I'm not talking about talking to them over and over again. That kind of shit annoys me where you talk to it. Dragon Quest does a really good job of letting you know when people are done talking in the newer ones, because they like each of them has like a little exclamation point, and then once you've kind of satiated what they're going to say, it goes away and you don't have to continue to talk to them. But older games would sometimes refresh and then you just be hearing the same things over and over again, but you keep talking to them because you don't want to miss anything. This game actually really does, especially from its era, say like, no, we are going to have new things to say over and over and over again. Like it's actually kind of incredible. Like I'm not even sure modern games
have that much.
Yeah, like where things happen, you'll go into a town, talk to everyone, then you'll have like a cutscene. You'll go and talk to everyone again, and now everyone says something different. Then you go to the dungeon, then you come back to the town, and everyone says something different again. It's like, wow, that's actually kind of cool. And I don't know if it's an SNES era game and the like game that was put on Sega CD. And I don't know that you really need a lot of room to fit all of this conversation in, but that might be just another perk of it being optical disc-based game from the very beginning. It's just having a lot of text space. Although, again, I don't know that would have really mattered. When you think about games like Final Fantasy VI or Phantasy Star 2, 3, 4, I mean, these are huge games. So, and they run on native hardware. So, what else? Let me look here. So, yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to that. Oh, a big thing. So, a big thing with this collection is you can play in kind of the original PS1 mode, or you can play in remastered mode, and you can switch between them, but you have to save your game and then close it and then open it in the other version, which is a little disappointing.
Yeah, it's not like just on the fly.
Yeah, I understand things can't always be seamless, but that was a little bit annoying because it's fun. It's the only way to truly compare the games is to be like, what does this look like here? Okay, what does it look like now? What does it look like now? What does it look like now? Like I would do in Master Chief Collection or something, where I would constantly be changing them back and forth because I wanted to see.
Diablo Resurrected or Diablo 2 Resurrected had that, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of cool. I would have liked something like that. I'm not trying to be too complainy. This is a small studio.
I'm happy they at least give you the option.
Yeah. The one thing I'll say though, and I had to go look at original gameplay to be like, this isn't right? Like is the FMV stuff is so compressed. It's crazy. I was like, there's no way it looked like this when I played it originally. Like it and I went and like, lo and behold, I went and watched a long plays. And I'm like, no, it didn't look like this at all. Like, what the fuck is this? It's really weird. From that perspective alone, you shouldn't play the original version because that's part of the charm of the game. The game is probably only 20 or 30 hours at the most, and an hour of it's going to be anime. So you want it to look good. You're earning these cutscenes. It's fun. And I was shocked by how bad the playback was. Like something with the emulation, I guess, is wrong or something. I don't know. But it's something worth noting because otherwise they just make the games widescreen and did a few things. They look graphically pretty similar. So I'm not sure what they did. A big question I have, though, is that I do know that there are multiple translations for Lunar, and I haven't gone into the weeds of trying to just have the games up on YouTube, like side by side, to figure out like if they're different from each other. But I'm wondering what translation these games use and if they use the same translation. The reason I wonder that is because the writing in the remake is quippier than I remember. There was like a Rodney Dangerfield joke reference in it, and like weird like I get no respect kind of like line. I'm like, really? Was that in the original? Like, and obviously that wouldn't be in the original Japanese version. What I wonder is if that was in like Working Design's 90s translation or like localization of it. And just weird things like that feel, it's either very well written from that time, which is possible because those guys were great at what they did, but or this is a new script or a newer script, but I haven't really figured out which one it is, because I think that there would be 3 different, or if you count the original Japanese untranslated one, I think there would be 4 scripts for the game.
Wow.
Because there would be the Silver Star, then the Silver Star Story, and then the Silver Star Story Complete, and then the PSP version. I think all have different translations.
Wow, that's interesting. Huh. Oh, by the way, the game I'm thinking of was Racing Lagoon.
Racing Lagoon. Yeah, I don't know.
It never came out in the West.
That was a Super Famicom?
No, it was a PS1 Squaresoft like street racing RPG.
Yeah, that sounds
it looks really sick. I always wanted to play this, but I'd have to like get a fan translation.
Yeah, so interesting why they still didn't localize everything back then. It didn't get good. And Famitsu, it was 26 out of 40. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's not good for Famitsu, especially.
Yeah, definitely not. Although I saw Famitsu gave Mega Man 5 like a 24 or something. And I'm like, oh my God, that's nonsense.
Damn. Maybe they're harsher back then. But yeah, 2 Lagoon games went out from Square. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I don't know Blue Lagoon then. But yeah, this just sounds like a pretty standard affair RPG for the time, I guess, story-wise, character-wise. It would be like, when I play Colin, it would be like a nice nostalgia trip probably for me, in the sense of like, I haven't played the games before, but like these kind of type of characters, and they're all very 90s anime, I suppose, like that.
It's
yeah,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say, for like the remastered stuff, so you're saying the difference is like it's widescreen, they've cleaned up maybe a couple things, I guess, graphically.
Yeah,
and the cutscenes.
Yeah,
are way better.
And the trappings are like, the cutscenes are still in 4.3. I think they've just made it maybe up-resed it, right? And one thing I will say that's funny is that there are very few trappings. Like, after playing so many Capcom collections and Konami collections and so on and so forth, like, they really didn't do very much. These are really just the games. Even there's no even autosave. You're which is fine.
Really?
Like, you have to save manually. Like, there's no autosave.
Interesting.
So if you are playing it and you just forget to save for an hour, you're out of luck.
Is it save points, or can you save anywhere?
You can save anywhere. Yeah,
okay.
And there are 3 save slots, so you should be able to not trap yourself. There's no like in system in the game. You just use statues, and like there's like these statues they worship that you just go and look at, and they heal you. And the movement's a little finicky. I would definitely play it with a D-pad. It's not made to be played with a stick.
Yeah.
And just with the movement, like getting into doorways and like going around towns, it's just too sensitive. But yeah, otherwise it's pretty good. They give you a few options too. There are a few things like UI wise that they do clean up about the way you play with your items and your equipment and stuff, but I just have them on the modern setting, and I don't even really remember what it was like before that. So
yeah,
few cool quality of life updates, but otherwise I highly recommend it, man. I mean, it's
yeah, you gonna stick with it, you think?
Oh, definitely.
Cool.
No doubt. I'm really, really enjoying it. It's breezy and fun, and I haven't gotten into it yet, but it's famous for like the bromide system, which is like, the bromides I think are just like pictures, BROMIDE, but in this game I think they're usually like perverted pictures that you have to kind of like earn by doing certain things, like talk to the right person at the right time or whatever. And that's something I remember, but it hasn't come up yet, but I definitely remember that.
Okay. So are you playing with like a guide or anything for trophies?
Yeah, I have a guide for just the bromides, just to make sure that I'm doing all the things I need to do, because nothing else is missable, but the bromides are highly missable. Like, you have to, for instance, like you get back to a town, and before you talk to the person in the town, you need to talk to someone in the town. And if you don't, you miss this entire chain of events. That kind of shit pisses me the fuck off, and I'm not missing that stuff. So
yeah, that was kind of common for RPGs back in the day. Definitely stuff like that. I remember just like Chrono Cross just missing all these cool party members and shit like that. It's like, damn. But it sounds cool. I look forward to getting to it. I have that and Fantasian kind of on deck for like JRPGs I want to play.
Yeah,
but I think Fantasian's way longer.
Yeah, I was going to say, the thing that put me off from playing it was that I heard it's incredibly long. And I'm just like, I want to get to it out of respect one day, but I not anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, cool. Yeah, I'm glad to hear you're enjoying it. I'm curious to see what Micah thinks about it when she starts playing it, because I'll talk to her about it on Punching Up.
Yeah, she'll get her Switch version next week, and then she'll probably, hopefully, even have it for the trip, so she can play it on the plane or something. It'll be a good.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah,
it's
yeah,
a cozy game. I think would be good for trip. But yeah,
yeah, totally. All right. Final game on the docket for this week is, I put that in the wrong tab for Dustin. Here we go, Dustin. There you go.
There you go.
Prime 2 Echoes. I'm making my way through the series slowly again. I have played these all when they came out, and it's been a long time. Like, I'm trying to remember when this came out. Metroid Prime 2 was like
fall 2004.
2004, so it's been a long time. Yeah, so I played through it. I played through one remastered last year, which was good. It was a good remaster. Really, like, I love Metroid Prime, so I was happy to go through these. But I always remember 2 kind of being my least favorite out of these 3.
Mm-hmm.
And going through it again has been interesting, because there's some things I like more about it, but at the same time, I'm like, this is kind of why I remember I didn't like it so much. Have you played through this, Colin?
Yeah, I played. I haven't played it since it came out, but yeah, I played it in because that fall of 2004 was really strong for GameCube into 2005 when Resident Evil 4 came out, because that was when like Bait and Kados and like I think there was a Mario RPG in there.
Thousand Year Door probably
in there. Yeah, so there was like some and Mario, I think Mario Party was in there, 6. This was during the era I always bring up where I wasn't really playing games. But it's funny looking back on that when I say that, like, through the modern lens, because I was still just playing big releases, and like San Andreas came out.
Oh yeah,
as well, and others, and I was still buying. Like, I couldn't resist the GameCube at that point. But it all culminated with and especially looking back in hindsight, it was like a really strong fall. And yeah, Metroid Prime 2 was in there in that fall. I think it was October.
Yeah. So just in case any of you don't know, Metroid Prime, obviously everyone knows what Metroid is, actually, backtracking, exploring, getting power-ups, all that kind of shit. But like Prime, I think we've talked about this, I think, Colin, is how well they kind of adapted Metroid into first person. Like, when we heard about it, we were all just kind of like, Metroid first person.
Yeah.
And it's like, they did a really good job, actually. Definitely. Really good job. And so this is a continuation of Metroid Prime. It is good. The big hook this time around is the kind of like this like dark world you go through. Nintendo loves the light and dark world mechanics and stuff like that. I think Link to the Past and stuff like that. The thing about this game is when you're in the dark world, and going through the dark world is a big part of the game. Like, for instance, you go to this biome or environment kind of on the map, this zone, and you go through a lot of it in the normal world. Then when you go to the dark world, some things change. And the thing about being in the dark world is you are taking damage consistently. When you walk through the dark world, you just take a lot of damage. There are like these glowing spheres you go into that you can go for shelter, and you regenerate a lot of health, or a little bit of health at a time. But a lot of it is moving through this. And what's really annoying about an early game is it does a fuck ton of damage to you when you're moving through this. So a lot of time when I was playing Colin, I have to move through a zone. And if like you make a mistake exploring, or you just kind of take a peek and it takes a little bit too long, you have to sit in these orbs and just kind of wait for like a minute or something like that. And it's just like, no one wants to do that kind of thing.
Right.
This is something I heard they did address in the trilogy they did on Wii. They kind of tweaked it a little bit.
That never came out here, right?
No, it did. Yeah.
The Wii trilogy came out in the States?
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember playing it. I must have not. When
was
it?
It was 2009? It was a kind of near the end, because it was after Prime 3 and everything. So, but I think they tweaked it for a little bit for that.
Oh, cool. So, yeah, I would be interesting to play those with Wii controls, because I thought that really made Metroid Prime 3 sing, actually. Yeah. It was funny because I booted this up. So I played the Prime Remastered last year, and they added, with the right stick, you can like move the camera and stuff like that. You could turn Samus left or right. Cool.
In this game, the original GameCube controller, I like forgot all about this. It's like, no, you can't do that. You either just move left or right, and to like look around, you have to hold like the R button to kind of like manually, almost like GoldenEye. You remember how you do that? And so that took me a while to get used to, because I'm so used to first person games, having 2 analog sticks, and it's very strange not to have it. Because like the C stick didn't really do that either. The C stick is used for changing your gun type, which is strange to me. I don't know why they did that, but I wish you could look around easier. So that took me some getting used to, but I'm like fully there now. But anyways, when you go into this dark world, it is interesting because some areas are opened up a little bit or a little different, stuff like that. But I really hated just having to pause semi-frequently to get my health back up, especially because, you know, there's no like checkpoints. How you have to get a save station essentially to get a checkpoint. And you could lose like, you know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes of progress. There's some long stretches in the game. I'm playing on an emulator right now because I don't have a physical version of it, but I have save states and all that, so it's really cool being able to do that. But I remember it was kind of brutal back then. It was one of the harder Metroid games I remember back then for the Prime games. But I am happy to say that there's more bosses in this one, and they're more interesting than they were in Prime, I would say. There was like, I fought this giant like three worms kind of in the desert, and they would jump up and down through the sand. You'd shoot them and they'd connect to something. You have to like shoot them with the light beam or missiles, and you like roll up into them and blow them up when they eat you and stuff like that. It's really cool. So I'm happy there's more boss fights around. There's the Dark Samus that's kind of like the hook in this game as well.
That's what I remember. Yeah.
Fought Dark Samus like 1 or 2 times. I really like the cutscene in this game. I think they make Samus really badass in these games. She's super cool. There's like no talking in these games. There's no like voice acting at all. But it works really well. Samus is a very quiet character. I guess that's maybe why when Other M came out, it was very jarring for a lot of people when Samus was talking a lot and how they portrayed her character, I guess, and all that kind of stuff. But I still think the cutscenes are really sick, and Samus is really badass in these games, so I'm very happy about that. I still think it's very fun. It's kind of divided up. Like how it is, it's like you meet this like ghost bird thing, and he's like, hey, go to these 3 sections and get these dark keys and, you know, collect these. Very Nintendo, Zelda, go to these 3 spots, collect stuff, then it'll open up something else. So I've only done one of them right now. I'm like 3 hours in the game, maybe. But the section I went through was pretty big, and it was cool going through. I thought it was pretty well designed. The backtracking isn't as... I think in Prime it gets a little annoying at certain parts, and it's not as bad so far. I'm curious how it's going to get as I get further into the game. Because there's no like... Fast travel is like you have to find the elevators and stuff like that. Like if you guys played Symphony of the Night, it's much easier in Symphony of the Night, but you have to go to like a warp gate and stuff like that. But so far it's good. I kind of miss there's no like ice beam and stuff like that in this game. And I guess you don't need it in every game, but it's just kind of like a staple, and I kind of miss that. This time they replace it with the dark and light beam, which are good against some types of enemies, and you use them to open certain type of doors like you expect from a Metro game. Missiles and all that kind of stuff. But the exploration's been pretty fun so far. The art direction, I think, is really great still. I really like the world. I think it looks awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking at a long play of it now.
Yeah, it's still a really cool game. Unfortunately, there is no easy way to play it on anything modern. You essentially have to get the Wii trilogy, the GameCube copy, or you have to emulate it. There is no other version to play, unfortunately. But it's cool. I would recommend playing Prime 1 first if you're interested in these games, just to see where it started. And it's way easier to just way more accessible than Prime 2. But I'm enjoying it more than I remembered I enjoyed it so far. I still have a ways to go, but I am curious how I feel about it at the end, because I'm going to play through all of them before 4. I just bought 3 recently. I found it and I was like, oh yeah, I'll just buy
nice.
this right
there
now.
It is. Yeah. I love 3. I think
I like
awesome.
3 a lot too. I thought it was really good, but the Wiimote was like a match made in heaven kind of with it.
Definitely.
So
shooters worked. I love playing shooters on Wii. I never got to play the I played them in the office, but never actually like played through them and beat them. The Conduit games on Wii.
Oh yeah. I never really.
Those are supposed to be really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
They're about like an American like conspiracy of some sort. I think, which is cool.
But yeah, Prime 2, solid game so far. See how I feel as I continue to play through it. But yeah, it's good to play a Metroid game. I'm happy Metroid Prime's coming back. Feel a good moment right now.
Yeah, this is pretty nostalgic looking at this too.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I get like brief flashes of nostalgia when I'm playing. I'm like, oh yeah, I think I remember this kind of. It's been fun.
Yeah, this is cool.
But I'm playing on a DualSense just because I would play on a Pro Controller Nintendo one, but it like wasn't connecting properly or something like that. But I need to try to see if I can get my GameCube controller to work with this thing, because that's the way to do it, baby. Well, the Wiimote or the Wii one is probably the best, but I love that GameCube controller. All right. Wee. This is from my most hated race is the 400 meter dash. Jeez. Hey, summoning PSSRs. Happy episode 69. Just writing in to be the loud autist that says Prime 2 is better than the original. Some of the best boss fights in gaming and a couple frustrating ones. Wow. Some of the best boss fights in gaming? That's a high bar.
It's intense.
I'll see about that. Yeah, that's quite a statement, dude.
It's a lot.
Because I don't remember like any bosses from this game. All right. This is from Michael Lady. Brad, please tell me you're not playing Metroid Prime 2 on a console. Over the past few years, I've played all 3 games using the amazing Prime Hack Dolphin build, which lets you use mouse and keyboard setup and speed up the emulation. The speed boost is especially helpful in Prime 2, where you're forced to sit through the realm switching loading animation. Oh yeah, that's true. Every time you attempt a puzzle that involves jumping between the light and dark worlds. Anyways, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Prime 2. I generally think that it's the best of the trilogy, with some of the most satisfying puzzles in any Metroidvania. And while you're at it, please explain to Colin why a first-person game that uses lock-on targeting can never be considered an FPS. Thanks. Oh, geez.
I can't get back into this conversation. I mean, this argument about what Metroid Prime is literally 20-something years old at this point. It goes all the way back to my earliest days at IGN. Because we had an argument about, like, you know, they would present one genre, and I think we presented as adventure. And I'd be like, it's not an adventure game. It's a first-person shooter. Like, I don't understand what you don't understand. Is the better if you were to say, even if you're getting in the weeds, right? If you're like, what is Metroid Prime? Is it more descriptive to say if it's an FPS or an adventure game? What do you think someone would get more out of?
What they would associate more?
Yeah, like, well,
I think most people would think it's an FPS just because it has a gun.
Yeah.
And that's it. But once I think you actually play it, you're like, oh, okay. It makes more sense to me as like an adventure game.
Yeah, I can't have this conversation again. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Can't happen.
It's all right, Colin. All right, this is from the Juan one. Wow. Brad, what are your thoughts on Metroid Prime 2 so far? This game is definitely the black sheep of the Prime trilogy due to its harder difficulty, its light/dark world mechanic, and the lack of familiar Metroid elements such as no Ridley, the lack of Chozo, and no familiar beam upgrades like Wave or Plasma Beam. But it makes up for it by being by having the best bosses in the series and having over 15 major bosses. Wow. Prime 1 only has 5 major bosses. Puzzles that really make you think due to the light and dark world, new banger music, some being the best in the whole series, and the introduction of Dark Samus. P.S. A stand down to call. Damn, dude. The Metroid Prime games are 3D Metroidvania games and not just first-person games. Oh, hell, there are long periods of time the only two you shoot. Wait, hell, there are even long periods of time. The only time you shoot is to open doors. This is not strictly needed to be in 2D. Wow, dude, people are really upset about that, Colin.
Yeah, I guess this has really resonated. Like, my contention with this game over many years has stuck with people as far as like categorizing it. I struggle considering 3D games Metroidvania games at all. And I've had this conversation in the past. Like, I just don't. I think Metroidvanias really do have to be 2D games. If you're in a Metroidvania like situation, you're in like something else in 3D, but it's not a Metroidvania. Like Darksiders. Remember everyone was called Darksiders a Metroidvania, and I'm like, nah.
I remember people calling it like a Zelda-like.
Yeah, right, exactly. And that's what I was going to say. When you get into, although Zelda existed as it did in Ocarina of Time in 2D as well, and Link to the Past and all the rest, like,
yeah, that's
more what I would refer to. And that to me is more adventure gaming than anything than even Metroid. So I'm obviously on a let's see what the next person has to say. Fucking insult me some more.
No, I think that's it for the audience right now. I'm not going to try to convince you, but I do think it's interesting that, would you say any other genre though can go from 2D to 3D and be fine? Fighting game, strategy game,
fighting games, platformers,
RPG.
Yeah, lots of them can. Yeah. I just think
games, but it's just this game though, or like Metroid.
Yeah, I would say, yeah, I just think it's, and then a lot of things are Metroidvania, I guess is what I'm saying. Like a lot of things.
A lot of games are RPG.
Yeah.
They have the elements.
I think we're just being a little too fast, a little too loose in my opinion, but yeah, to each their own. I mean, whatever, you know, I'm not going to die on this hill.
Yeah.
I don't care that much.
All right, this is from Marcus. What's happening, boys? Quick question for Brad. I just finished Metroid Prime Remaster on Switch, and I've got Prime 2 ready on Steam Deck. I generally loved Metroid Prime, but the backtrack in the endgame was such a pain getting back to certain locations. I don't know how far you are, but are you enjoying it more than Prime 1? And is the map better for backtracking to locations? Really excited for Prime 4. Much love from the Manchester, UK. I'm still too early to see like late game exploration, how that'll all tie into it. Because I think Prime gets way more annoying at the later half in the game. So I'm not really sure how it's going to be in Prime 2 right now. But there was a couple points so far where I've been like, well, I just went back to, like, I went somewhere in the light world, then I went back in the dark world, like the same thing kind of thing, where I'm like, that felt a little padded out. But so far, not too big of a deal. But we'll see as I play more. I'll keep you guys updated. I'll be playing through all 3 of them before 4 comes out this year. You better play that, Colin. It's time.
I told you how disappointed. Was I on the show when I told you how disappointed I was when I found out that it was not a Switch 2 game?
Yes, you did. Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Hey, don't let that stop you, man.
Yeah.
Horizon Forbidden West, PS4 game. You loved it.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. That's a fair point. Yeah, it looks really good. I mean, it definitely. I like Metroid. I mean, I love Metroid.
Yeah, I know you love Metroid. It's time to revisit. It's been a while.
It's been a long time. I've missed quite a few Metroid games at this point. So,
all right. Now it's time for some closing questions, comments from the audience. We end all of our shows like this. Head over to patreon.com/laststandmedia if you want to write into this show as well as our other shows. We post threads up for all of our shows, calling for your submissions. For this show, they go up every Saturday. So if you want to write in there, keep an eye out. Okay, this is from KB. KB Toys? Man, I miss KB Toys.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Shout out Funko Land as well.
Oh, God.
Love what Funko. A great name.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, dude, I remember just seeing Dreamcast stuff at Funko Land for so cheap, and I wish I just bought it when I was young. Fuck.
My memories of Funko actually are like when you would walk in, and maybe it was just the one I went to on Long Island, but on Long Island was the behind them was just like shelves of NES games.
Yeah.
NES games, like shelves and shelves and shelves and shelves and shelves of them. And I was just like, geez, man, if I knew better, I would have just bought everything you had.
I know. I wish I had the foresight for all that.
Remember they'd have the little newspaper you'd bring home with you, and it had all the prices, and they would update it every month, like what everything was worth and what they'd buy it from you for and stuff.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. My God, if I was go back in time, I'd just be like, okay, I'm buying Pokemon Red and Blue, sealing them perfectly. I'm never opening those shit. I'd sell it for like $1 million. Pokemon cards, all that shit, dude.
I know, it's crazy, man. Like you've just. And then people became too self-aware of it, and it ended up blowing up. Like where people have so much worthless shit too. In Star Wars, I always bring that up. Like modern Star Wars toys are like worthless.
Oh, it's like I wish I just took care of my boxes. Like think about how just fucked up they were. And I didn't give a fuck about them. Just rip them. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Yeah. See the cartridge. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, I really was careless with a lot
I'm
of stuff.
Strangle my younger self. Idiot. All right. Hey, gents. Throughout most of this generation, Sony's approach to game announcements has felt underwhelming. State of plays, no matter how many qualifiers Sony includes, rarely deliver and what the enthusiast community is truly looking for. As you guys often point out, they tend to feel more like third-party marketing obligations than genuine showcases of what fans are excited to see. This upcoming summer marks the first major showing under SIE's new leadership, and I think the stakes are high. So my question is, how crucial is it for Sony to stick the landing with whatever showcase they put together? Many PlayStation fans have given Sony the benefit of the doubt for most of this generation, and I think, in return, there's an expectation that they finally start firing on all cylinders, especially when it comes to their first-party lineup. Thanks. What do you think about this?
I don't really know how much pressure they really are under. Again, I think this is an optical situation more than anything else. The way people are playing and digesting and absorbing games is just continuing to change a lot, and that Sony simply has a platform foot kind of in the game and have a seat at the table, as it were, is a big win for them. Because of all the passive income they make. And I think because of the high level of passive income, like we've said, 1 in 10 gaming minutes is now Fortnite. So being one of the few places when you really think about it that you can play Fortnite, like there are a half dozen places you can play it. And one of them is PlayStation. I think that's huge. And I think that this has demonstrably taken the pressure off of them, because as they've released fewer games, even games that have busted or that they spent a lot of money on and they haven't come to fruition, even with the Bungie acquisition, which has been a disaster, and the money that they've dumped in the Marathon and all the rest, which might come to fruition, who knows? But even with all of that, they're making more money than ever. They're netting more money than ever. And it's by a fairly substantial amount, actually. They've made more profit this generation, I think, than they made in the PS1 and PS2 generations combined. So, and they've done that without a lot of games. But you guys can't also discount the idea, and I think it's becoming quite profound this deep into the generation, where it's like, yeah, there are not that many defining games for the console at all. And that's too bad. But when you look at it more agnostically, it's like, no, we've been saying this earlier, like the going's quite good. And I am continuously overwhelmed by things to play. So I want more of what they deliver. I think a lot of that stuff has been canceled. I think they wasted a lot of resources and a lot of time and energy on games that are not going to come out. And you can't get any of that stuff back. I don't care so much about the money as much as I care about the time. And they probably care more about the time than the money as well. Because what it means is that a lot of things are just not going to come from these studios until PS6, and they're going to have fewer things to announce, and it sucks.
Yeah.
So but I just disagree that they're really under a lot of pressure, because I think they just look at console sales and the MAU count and the trajectory of PS Plus, and they're like, we're better than fine.
They won the console war against Xbox.
Right. So I think it's too bad that things went the way they did for Microsoft, especially in the timing that they did, because this would now be the time to clobber Sony. But instead,
absolutely.
So, or at least try. I don't think it would have really worked, to be honest, but at least try to fight them. And instead, they've capitulated and sent all their games to it. So that just helps them even more. I mean, that's the thing, is like it sucks for us as players in some sense, because they are not against the ropes like they were in the PS3 era. They're not.
Right.
It's total. If you look at the financials for 2007, 2008, like they're losing a lot of money, like billions of dollars, and they haven't lost shit since. Like so I think they just look at it and they're like, no, we're good. We'll do it right. We'll have Intergalactic and Ghost and Death Stranding and all these things and future things that are going to percolate out. And I heard of one game specifically that'll be interesting. Smaller game, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I just don't think that they care very much about the optical thing. Because I just think it's what we were saying earlier about what were we saying it about Nintendo, the Switch too, and people being mad at Nintendo. It's like, well, how mad are you? And I think it's like, oh, well, some Sony fans online are mad at us. When Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, we're going to sell millions and millions of consoles based just on this game. I think we'll be okay. Yeah. And I think it's the same thing with college football and the trajectory of PS5 after that and all the rest. I just think that unfortunately if you care about them really extracting value out of their game properties and their studios, I just don't think that it's that big of a deal. In other words, Brad, not to belabor it, but it's like this couldn't have happened at a better time for them. Actually.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They lucked out big time. I guess from what do you think the audience wants when they're talking about these expectations? Is it purely a first party thing, do you think?
Yeah, I think that they want those WoW level games that we got more often back in the day. But I think that people ignore the fact that we get those games still. They just come from lots of different sources, just as they always really have. I totally understand the longing for the absence or the end of the absence of PlayStation first party and the amount of wasted time, resources, and money on these projects that would never come to fruition. But now that is just the situation where there's nothing you can really do about it. You can't just, unfortunately, manufacture PlayStation level games out of the ether. Like it's going to just take time. But I'm also I'm not confident, but I feel like what we're going to see is like a very robust end of the generation, not particularly unlike what happened to PS4, but probably even bigger than that. Where it's going to be like, you can imagine maybe a half dozen really big games coming the last 18 months or something, as they're able to kind of square things away.
Then they can do PS6 versions of all those games as well after.
Well, no doubt about that.
Yeah, no doubt. They'd be dumb not to.
Of course. $10 upgrade paths.
Yeah, no big deal. Maybe 20 by then.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see. Yeah, because if their games are 80, they probably will be by that time. 2027, 2028.
80, I think is a safe bet for PS6. Yeah,
probably. Yeah, Nintendo fired the first shot. It's like what was that? Boston Massacre, the first shot or whatever. Yeah, I'm trying to think about that. They don't know who did what. It was like what side shot first. Do you remember? I mean, you're an expert in this.
Yeah, well, the shot heard around the world. Like there's contention. No one really knows.
Okay.
Like it was never really claimed who shot first, but it went off because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was April 18th. Yeah. Just a
yeah. I will say though, as like a PlayStation fan, I'm at least happy they're getting like at least console exclusive stuff like why can't I think of it? It's action game coming out. I can't think of it. Lost Soul Aside coming out. That looks really great. I'm really happy about that. I really like Stellar Blade. So they're kind of filling this hole for me, even if the first party's taken a long time.
Sure.
And like Death Stranding, of course. So still happy about that shit. But like for you and me, way too much shit to play already for us. But I understand not everyone's like that. All right. This is from the champ. Hey, C&B. What are your favorite side quests in gaming? Not Colin's show. With the Oblivion remaster on the horizon, it made me recall the side quests where I was the lone vampire locked in a house of other people. My mission was to murder everyone in the house without letting the other NPCs know that I was a vampire. So every night, I'd kill someone in their sleep, wake up the next morning, and everyone was trying to guess who did it. I also remember the final person confronted me saying, I know I'm not the vampire. And before he could finish his dialogue, I beat him to death. That side quest is the only thing I remember about Oblivion. Well, that and horse armor. Anyway, I wonder if you guys have any fond memories that you would like to share about side quests. Keep up the good work. All right, Colin. Any side quests you remember that you just loved?
I mean, not really. I mean, there's a lot of them. I mean, when I think about
there's a lot.
Like Fallout 3 alone or something like that.
Like what's one from Fallout 3 you liked a lot?
Actually, we were talking about this recently on the show. Was just the whole DLC for Mothership Zeta, and finding the connection between the mother, like the DLC and kind of the abductions, and then you realize that there's like actually a crashed UFO in the wasteland that you could find with a really powerful gun in it. And I loved those kinds of particular connections. A side quest I bring up a lot that I really love. It's not really a side quest, but kind of a happening, is like all of Shadow's dreams in Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah.
When you sleep at the inn, if you sleep with them in the party, they'll like randomly come up in some sort of RNG formula, and you get some more background on him. I love that kind of stuff. I mean, but what I really love about side quest, I shouldn't say what I also like, is like what I like more than that is a game that tells a really solid main story and gives you like some checkboxy things to do around that story as well. So things don't always have to be mega robust story wise. The game I remember having like the most intense side quest generally, and I don't really remember any of them, but I just remember everything mattering in some sense, was the Witcher 3, which was probably the first game I ever played where I was like, wow, this game is really dense with meaning, as opposed to just, I need a potion, go get it and bring it back kind of thing that you see in a lot of side quests. But yeah, there's a shit ton of them, dude.
Yeah.
You know what's a fun one in Final Fantasy IV with Yang's wife, and how like she hits him with a pan. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And then like you can follow this whole side quest, I think, into like the underworld where the dwarves live, and you get like a very special weapon that they forge out of the pan or something. It's like,
oh yeah,
it's like a weird sort of situation, but it's cool.
I love side quests where you get like a sick reward at the end like that. Like one example I always think of is the Knights of the Round quest in Final Fantasy VII, where you have to do the chocobo breeding and all that stuff. I love doing the races and all that stuff. That was so fun. Witcher 3 has a lot of good ones. One of them I don't want to spoil for a character, but someone from Witcher 2 shows up, and I was very happy about that. It's cool. Kind of like some closure around their character. So that was sick. Actually, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that I played through this year has a lot of great quests. We were talking about this on the spoiler cast, which will coming out this Saturday, I believe, for everyone listening. I think it's called like the Mouth of Hell or something like that. If you guys have played the game, you know what I'm talking about. But that was a really cool one as well. But yeah, even just like small little goofy things I think are fun like that all the time. Like you're saying, they don't always need to be extremely robust or something like that. Give you a little something to do.
They can be distracting. I think that's just the thing that you need to balance. Like it could be distracting from the main story. If you're doing too many things on the side, everything loses its urgency and stuff. And sometimes that's fun, but sometimes you want to be in the moment. So.
Yeah. Oh man. So from Breath of the Wild, Terrytown. It's this little town that you start with this guy and you help him like build the town and you recruit residents for the town and stuff like that. And it grows with people moving into new buildings. I love shit like that. That was awesome. Okay. This is from Krangus McBasketball. Hello, sexy vampires. With you guys having time as Indiana Jones and more specifically his whip in first person. Oh, we'd read this. This was the Castlevania one.
Yeah, you skipped one above it, I think.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, I did. Or Boy Javen. But yeah, that was a good one. Not opposed to first person Castlevania. We'll see though. Did you ever play the arcade game? It's very rare.
The arcade, like the original Castlevania arcade game?
No. It's like where you use like a whip actually. It's a more modern one.
Oh no, like as a peripheral.
Yes.
I've never even heard of that.
I've never played it either. There's like, I know of one place in like America that has it.
That's
like in Chicago.
I'm gonna look at that.
I forgot what it was called, but I always wanted to play it. But it looked always really sick.
Yeah, I thought you were talking about like versus Castlevania or whatever that.
No.
Oh, I see it here. Yeah, this is cool.
Do you remember the Mega Man arcade games, like the fighting game one?
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I would always only be able to read about them or watch video, like primitive video on YouTube, or always on YouTube at the time. I guess it would just be like MPEGs on various sites until I worked at IGN and we had like a arcade that had them on. It was awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. Damn. All right, this is from Javen Mather. My dudes, with Indy coming to PS5, let's flip it. What Sony properties would you see being especially enjoyable on the console of highest discussion right now, the Switch 2? I mentioned this specifically due to its profitability factor. A dream idea for me...
You said portability.
Portability.
Yeah.
I did. I said profitability. Portability factor. A dream idea for me would be seeing re-releases of the old Ratchet & Clank and God of War remasters on Switch 2. Even if just to hear the chipper Nintendo Direct narrator say something like, join Kratos on his blood-soaked quest for vengeance against the gods.
Indeed. And sorry, I was just trying to save you from the audience so that they wouldn't have any idea what you were talking about.
My audience is much less cruel than yours.
Oh, that's nice. That must be nice.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of things that make sense on Switch 2. I'm very bold about this. I know a lot of people aren't going to like it, and I think you better steel yourself because I think it's going to happen at some point. I think it would be cool. So here's what you have to look at is like what would make sense or be fun and what would make money and be profitable. And these are two very different things, I think. Because like what makes sense and what would be fun is like Sly Cooper or Ratchet. And again, I contend that I don't think Ratchet would do very well on the new Ratchet on Switch 2, at least in its quickness and all the rest. That's snappiness. That's so important to it. So you have stuff like that, but then you have the things that make sense and will also make money and will be more popular, but you have to cut closer to the bone. And so it would be cool to see something like the Uncharted trilogy or Zero Dawn or something like that come over. I just don't know how bold they're going to be. It's clear that they are willing right now to sub-license things to publishers. And as long as those publishers, specifically Bandai Namco, and as they don't, if they're willing to not publish on Xbox, they'll basically let them do what they want. So they're doing that with, they're doing that with Patapon, and they're doing that with Freedom Wars and some others, Everybody Golf.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know if this is their back door into just being like, we're going to do this with some level of plausible deniability or something. I mean, obviously they have to license to make permission for this stuff. And you're factoring in like Sony's getting a little bit of money from that. It's not like it's that much money. They're not licensing Patapon and making, tens of millions of dollars. Like I highly doubt.
Yeah.
They might make millions of dollars on each of these games, which is nice, but not a lot for them. So they have to look into striking the right balance between relevance and the ability to make money and what would make sense or be cute. Because of course, like the cartoony things would make a lot of sense and be cute, but I think that I think really anything from the PS4 or before should be eligible to move at this point. And I don't feel like, I personally feel like people vastly overestimate how much that would hurt Sony. Like, I just don't think it would. I think that it would be more reasonable to expect it to hurt Sony before we have so much evidence of what PC releases have done for Sony, which is not very much. Like the PS5 trajectory, PC sales are down substantially and PS5 sales are up. So like it didn't matter. So why is it going to matter for what? I would argue there's way more crossover between potential PS5 owners and PC than potential PS5 owners and Switch players who seem to be pretty happy where they are and buy games there and all of that. So I would want to cater to them. You're not going to get them. So
Right, yeah. I guess with PC, it's still with Sony. It's because it's not day and date. So I think that you get stuff years later. So I think that does hurt sales on PC. Now, I'm not saying it would be a whole lot more. I have no idea, but that's one reason. But I agree with you. They should just put stuff on Switch, especially if they're not doing anything with it. Like you're saying, Sly Cooper, it's like, all right, you've done everything. Like Horizon, you've done everything with it already.
Right. And just do what they did, do what Microsoft's doing on PlayStation, which is brilliant, which is here's Forza Horizon 5, which came out 4 years ago. You can have it for $70. And that's the price of doing business with us. Mm-hmm. And you could make do it. It's free money. Yeah. If they just do it. I just think that I think the only overlapping platforms at this point are Xbox and PlayStation with like similar audiences, and everyone else is kind of where they are. So I understand the not publishing on Xbox thing and being very strict about that, at least for the time being. I think that could even break down too. And we're going to see that with Marathon, which was always announced for Xbox. It's not like that's new. That was part of the deal, I think, of even getting them to begin with. So I don't know. A lot of things make sense on Switch too. It's just a matter of how far they're willing to go.
Yeah, put Bloodborne on there. It might run better than the PS4 version.
Yeah, it might. Yeah, it might, because it's more like a PS4 Pro, right? The Switch 2.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. It's just Bloodborne just doesn't run well in general.
No.
Okay, so let's say Sony talks to you. They ask you. They're like, "Give us a game to put on it." What do you think?
The Uncharted trilogy is probably
Uncharted trilogy.
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I think that's what I'd probably pick too, because Uncharted does have mass appeal.
Yeah, if you want to maximize like returns and just see what happens, I think that you got to go with you got to be willing to bet something big. Otherwise, you're never really going to know. You're never going to know from Freedom Wars. No one cares. Yeah. You need to know from. And I think what you would find is that it would sell respectably, but not like enough to make any sort of threat. And then Sony would be like, "Oh, we can make like tens of millions of dollars a year doing this."
Yeah. Do you think Astrobot could end up on Switch?
To me, that's too new, and too modern. I think it would. I mean, that would make an enormous amount of sense. But I think that you're also taking that the only Nintendo flavor you have and giving it to them.
Yeah,
which would be a little weird. As opposed to you have so much AAA grounded, serious, sad dad. Whatever shit going on. Right. The Last of Us. I mean, that's another interesting idea, like the first one.
The remaster of the first one, yeah.
Right. Part 1 or whatever. Or the God of War trilogy or something, which I would love for them to release on modern hardware, but I don't think they're going to. So
yeah. Yeah. I mean, Sony's just frustrating that sense of just giving us PS3 games in general.
Yeah. It's annoying. And I should note that God of War 3 is on PS4, but not the first two.
Yeah. Which is a shame. All right, it's from Caleb Greer. Greetings, gentlemen. I want to talk to you about gaming backlogs. Do you have a strategy for tackling games you haven't played, or do you just go with what's on your mind? Some people really scoff at the idea of writing it down because they think it becomes a to-do list. But I keep a note in my phone sorted alphabetically of every game I want to play that's out. I do this so I don't forget games, which I absolutely would, and I don't see it as a to-do list. I simply load up the list when I beat a game and just scroll through and go with what am I feeling? So it's more of a reference index than anything. Anyway, I recommend it if you're increasingly forgetful like me and you don't just play new games. You're bound to forget about stuff you might have loved. That's not bad advice. I forget about games sometimes because there's just so goddamn many.
Yeah, I try to buy like what I'm interested in and then just look at my library. It's not that I am anti-backlog personally for myself, but I don't judge people for doing it. I totally understand. It's just that I've had written backlogs many times, and to no end, like there was no fruit born out of it. There was to no end. It's like, what's the point? My big thing for me is that I want to beat the games I play, and I sometimes let myself sneak out of that if things are just taking too long or I'm not that into it a few times a year. But generally speaking, I just try to make time to be like, I'm going to play this, and unless it's fucking bad, I'm going to beat it. And then I'm going to move on to the next game and so on. And things stack up and you have to make concessions and all the rest. I understand people that aren't in the industry, which is everyone listening to this. They have real lives and they have families and jobs and other things to do. And so these things do truly stack up and you might miss. But I'm kind of immersed in this where I really feel like I'm not. nothing comes up and I'm like, oh, I totally forgot that I didn't play this game 2 years ago. It's like I usually would have gotten to it at some point, I think, if I would cared about it that much. So I get why people keep those lists, but I find them totally counterproductive, and they give me agita kind of, where I'm just like, oh my God. Like, it's a nice, if you want to really save money, it's a really good thing to do. If you want to be like super disciplined, especially about what you own, or if you're like, if you wish list things and then you see that it's on sale or whatever, and that's cool. But
yeah,
not for me.
Yeah, we're in a very unusual position, like you're saying, about games and how we consume them, I suppose, and like what we play and when we play it. Because like, at least me, for this show, I try to stay up to date somewhat on a lot of stuff I play. I try to play new things if possible. But I'm okay as I've gotten older just with letting things go. Like you're saying, if you're playing a game, you're not really enjoying it. Like, I don't really want to force myself too much. I'll force myself a little bit because sometimes I can just break through it and be like, oh, okay, now it starts to click. But like 10 hours, if I'm not feeling something for 10 hours, I'm like, kind of out of here, man. But
yeah, I'll give myself a few of those a year at most. Usually I'm not locking into games that I wouldn't like. There's too much information out there now to like really blindly draw, unless you're trying to do that, which I do with a lot of big games where I'm like, I don't know anything about this. Like, I really don't know anything about, like, literally don't know anything about that Expeditions 33 game. I've seen it like a couple times. I really think I get it, but I know I'm going to like it. Banishers was the last game I played where I was like, I like this, but it's taking too long. And it's just, I'm going to move on, you know?
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, I mean, that's not a bad idea. Like you're especially saying, if you want to save money, having that backlog list, when you get to a game, it's probably going to be on sale. So,
oh my God. You can play, especially if you're not on Nintendo, you can play for so cheap.
Yeah. First party stuff. Yeah, especially.
Right. That's what I mean, is like, you're not going to access any of that stuff.
All right. Final writing here from Ricardo Chavez. Greetings, B and C. Lately, I've been thinking about diving into a JRPG, but I'm a complete newcomer to the genre. I want my first experience to be with a retro title. Would Lunar be a good place to start, or should I look into Dragon Quest III Remake or the Final Fantasy 4 Pixel Remaster instead? BNR Ricardo C.
Dragon Quest III is the most hardcore of those games, and is actually fairly difficult if you've never played a role-playing game. I mean, you can overcome them by grinding and all of the rest, but it's a pretty hard game.
Well, now on the new one, there's like difficulties and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So you can speed it up as well. They've made a lot of stuff easier for that.
Cool.
Like
yeah, that's actually a game I got to the end and I just never beat it for some reason. The remake. Final Fantasy IV is certainly the best of these games and is a great place to start. And I also think Lunar is probably the friendliest game to play and the shortest of these three, I would say, as well. What is time to beat? Lunar Silver Star story time to beat 27 hours, 51 and a half hours to obtain 100% completion. I don't think so. That's not even possible because there's really nothing to do in the game other than that bromide stuff. I would go with Final Fantasy IV personally.
I would go with 4 as well on this list. If you're looking at these games, you want an excellent Final Fantasy that many still consider to be the best or one of the top, including Colin right here. So
yeah, and
Pixel Remaster is a nice package as well.
Yeah, it's great. $70, I think. Not even probably now at this point.
For all of them, yeah. But you could buy it solo for like, what, 15, 20 maybe?
Yeah, I think you get a slight discount if you buy them all at the same time, but not that much if you don't want them all and you want to kind of try one. And then you'll kind of know if you're like, Final Fantasy IV is so good that if you don't like it, it's almost certainly because you don't like role-playing games, which is just a good thing to know. And then you don't have to bother with all this other stuff. As opposed to like Lunar, if you didn't like it, well, you might not like it because it's very anime and tropey, but you might have loved the story of 4. So yeah, I would start with 4 and then go from there.
Would you recommend 4 over 6?
Yeah, because I think it's just smaller.
Less complex, probably gameplay.
And then 6 is better than 4, but start with 4. And then if you like 4, then you'll be able to go to 6.
Cool. Yeah, I think Final Fantasy IV is a good spot to start. If you want to start with a retro one, yeah, that's a really good spot.
Certainly.
Great game, man. Awesome characters. Cool story. Good shit. All right, Colin, that's it for us. We're done. Thank you, man, for joining me. You've had a busy day.
No, it's all good, man. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, always
good
fun.
Good to see you and good to be with the audience. Hope everyone is well out there. And I'll be back soon, I'm sure.
Yeah. What are you doing for the rest of the day? Eating? Dinner time
soon. Yeah, I'm gonna go walk the dogs, then probably work out, and then eat, and then settle in for some games. I'm very schizophrenic right now because I'm going between The Last of Us Part 2 grounded mode, which I'm trying to play every night because I don't want to forget how to play the game. You really need to know how to play the game.
Yeah, you got to be zoned up for sure.
Like,
you got to be
really crazy levels of it. And then it's so good though. And then and then Lunar, and then Indiana Jones. I'm just like I usually don't play games like that. I usually am really focused in on one thing. But right now things are starting to come out to the degree where I'm distracted. So I'll jump into some of this stuff tonight.
Yeah, man, I miss being able to focus on one game. Not for work or anything. I just have gotten schizophrenic like you as well, hopping around. Like I'm playing Prime 2 right now, and just like Indiana Jones. It's just like I'm fucking all over the place right now.
I'm eager to get grounded mode out of the way. I might like really just focus on it to just check it off.
That's a daunting task, man.
Yeah. And then I'll be able to focus more. Like I'll play Lunar Silver Star Story, but I'll probably save Eternal Blue for a little later in the year, and then I'll move on to, I don't know, Expedition 33 or whatever is.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're playing grounded. That's like a demanding game for your like brain, and a lot. You got to really focus in on that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very satisfying.
It is.
Yeah, grounded is super good in the Last of Us games. All right. We're out of here, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll check you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Summon Sign is a product of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is written and hosted by me, Brad Ellis. The show is produced by Dustin Furman. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. Summon Sign, along with the rest of Last Stand's media shows, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we are grateful for your kind contribution and generosity to our independent endeavor. Thank you.